Chapter 261 10 Years of Peace. After Doflamingo integrated Dressrosa and swept away all those who opposed him, there was only one voice left in the country. Everyone is praising the regime after this violence. Verslo, Dressrosa, Fishman Island, formally signed a commercial cooperation agreement. The Black Triangle trade has since begun. The opening of the business road went very smoothly. Carter subdued the sea beasts along the way, and with the escort of the fish people, the danger of the entire voyage was greatly reduced. Fishman Island has become a gathering place for the cargo of the two sections of the Great Waterway, and countless ships stop here every day. The huge throughput has attracted the coveting of various forces. However, this island carries the flag of that one. Under the protection of that white beard, no one dared to do anything at will. Carter and Jedlin jointly controlled Murloc Street and incorporated those Murloc gangsters. After all, Fishman Island is a member country of the world government, so it's not too blatant, so the ships transporting arms all use Fishman Street as a rest stop on the way. Nominally belongs to the Sun Pirates, and the actual controller is Doflamingo. A huge space was opened up in Dressrosa's underground as a transfer point for weapons. It has also become the largest underground arms transfer center in the entire world. Most of the ships from Fishman Street to the New World are destined for this place. Verslo has been built into a large entertainment country, divided into many regional amusement parks, casinos, food streets, etc. Even Happy Street has set up a branch here. Eineal knew that Stressy, the queen of Happy Street, was a member of CP0, but she did not refuse them to join. The cooperation of the three Chihuahai will definitely arouse the vigilance of the world government. Instead of letting them secretly move in places they don't know, it's better to let Stressy's men come over, so that they can still know their activity bases. Well, that's the reason for being so righteous and AWE inspiring. Eineal has absolutely no other thoughts. Verslo is a big casino and it's best to penetrate. Doflamingo's secrecy is well done, and with Violet's ability, any spies will be caught. The 10,000-meter deep sea of Fishman Island, as well as racial factors, made it difficult for CP0 to speak. Because of Verslo's laxness, CP0 took this place as a breakthrough, and the activities were very frequent, but there was no progress. Because there is simply no secret they want to unearth. Eineal never cared about them. Anyway, the business of Verslo is basically open and above board, and they are all within the scope of Chihuahai's authority. Without destabilizing the world, even if the CP agency sees it, it will not take it seriously. Here, it is the concentration of beauties, fine wine, food, famous knives, devil fruits, etc., that is, the arms that do not have the most concern of CP organizations. 10 years passed in a hurry. Doflamingo, in cooperation with Eineal, controlled almost the entire North Sea and the Great Waterway in the arms business. Their alliance has become a behemoth that even the four emperors and the Navy headquarters dare not ignore. There are too many forces involved. Doflamingo, Jinbei, Eineal, Kaido, Whitebeard. No one would easily upset this balance. As the number 2 figure in the underground world, Eineal has been very peaceful for the past 10 years. After cooperating with the funeral home giant Dragu Piccolo, the Ocean King, Deep Current, Umet, and the Hidden Master, Gibson, a long-established warehouse industry, there is no need for him to run around the world. Pike Luo can help him collect the corpses of the strong, and Gibson has a special method to preserve the goods, and prevent the rapid loss of vitality. Transported to Verslo via Umet's subordinates. As long as Eineal stays in the palace, he can obtain the 2 resources he needs, corpse, and devil fruit. His way of collecting resources and vitality is not much slower than running around the world to find the battlefield. The funeral home brought the corpses of some powerful men who died not long ago. Eineal is a person who likes to enjoy life. Since someone can help him do it, why should he do it himself? Of course, the cost of this method is also huge, and the gold obtained by Sky Island is almost bottoming out. Even with the fairway and the benefits of Verslo, he could barely make ends meet. In the past 10 years, Eineal has been quite depraved. My abs have gone from 8 to 6. He has nothing to do to go shopping, and occasionally goes to the Scented Paradise branch of Happy Street in Verslow to play with the ladies. No, he often goes there to watch out for CP0 Feet's actions. Anyway, his fighting skills are no longer up to the mark. This is really a restriction of talent, and he has a sense of battle, but he can't understand things like swordsmanship and physical skills that require understanding. Enel once wanted to learn swordsmanship, and the swordsman has a threshold to appreciate the breadth of all things. He closed his eyes and meditated for half a month, and all he heard was the gurgling sound of his stomach. Of course, Enel is not completely idle, he is improving his ability to control the fruit. It's time to wake up at any time. In fact, he had this feeling when he entered the Great Waterway 16 years ago. But every time I want to wake up, I always feel that something is wrong. There is a faint uneasiness in my heart, so I have been consciously restraining the fruit and preventing it from awakening. Enel was waiting for the chaos to begin. He is constantly getting stronger, but still can't shake the status of the 4 emperors. Those 4 monsters are beyond the scope of human beings. Ant is born as the king of destruction. That kind of body cannot be achieved by hard work. Kaido, known as the strongest creature in the world, Oda's hand-in-hand king, has an indestructible body and tenacious vitality, almost indestructible. With red hair, his swordsmanship can rival that of the world's largest swordsman, and his unparalleled arrogance can even cause substantial damage. Whitebeard, the monster who once fought against One Piece, is the worthy king of the sea. Enel's physical quality can already be compared with the 3 major people who stand at the pinnacle of human beings. In addition to the hardness of the scales after dragon transformation and the strong resilience, his comprehensive strength is also within the category of general. However, compared with the 3 generals, who are almost at the peak of human beings in terms of body and skills, and have no shortcomings, they are still a lot inferior. The era when the kings Chiwahai and the 4 emperors, and the naval headquarters mutually restricted each other, was a relatively peaceful era. Supernovae are constantly emerging and falling. These star-like pirates are full of longing for the position of the pirate king, but in the end they all fell into the sand in front of the 4 emperors. They are like insurmountable peaks, blocking the dreams of pirates. But there are still countless dream chasers, racing to the sea. Chapter 262 Devil Fruit. 10 years is enough to change a lot. The white beard that once crossed the sea has grown old. Although the heroic spirit has not diminished in the past, it is still no match for the power of time. The powerful body is entangled by the disease, and it is getting weaker day by day. Behind him, Marshal D. Teach's reverence for him dwindled. This hero, secretly accumulating his own strength, is ready to betray the Whitebeard pirates at any time and break out his own legend. The boy in the straw hat looked at the beach. He was 17 years old, and in his contract with his brother, it was an age to chase his dreams. The restless heart has long been hot, and blood is rushing in the body. Dreams, the future, are beckoning to him. The vast sea is his journey. Well prepared, the young man rushed to the sea without hesitation. He was sitting in a small wreck. Small boats that don't even count as lifeboats. It was even smaller than Ainir's car, the Ode to the Ode. And he is also a devil fruit power user. This behavior is called death. The death factor is higher than the current Ainil directly attacking the naval headquarters. But, Luffy is the man who wants to become the pirate king. What is the boat afraid of? Roger didn't even have a boat back then, so he started his journey with a bag on his back. The worse the equipment, the higher the force. A straw hat is enough. The sea, I'm here. I will definitely become the pirate king. Monkey D. Luffy shouted his oath. A small boat without sails headed for the ocean. New World, an unnamed island. A group of pirates landed on the island cursingly. Their pirate ship is in tatters. There was a big hole in the side of the boat, and the sail was torn in half. The damn storm. One of the sailors spat. It's good to be alive. Ha ha ha, luck is not bad. I was able to encounter an island. This is the blessing of fate. We've been out of luck. The depressed-looking man rinsed his slashed arm with alcohol, with a look of pain on his face. He gritted his teeth and said nothing. His name was Jones, and he was an unremarkable member of an unremarkable little pirate group. He was originally a caravan sailor, taciturn, and was rescued by Grover after a shipwreck. So he joined his pirate group. He likes to drink, but in this case, he doesn't want to waste it. Alcohol can sterilize, and their ships are running out of medicines. The ship doctor was also swept away by the waves during the storm. If the wound becomes infected, it will be fatal. Compared with the hobby of drinking, life is obviously more important. Don't say that, Jones, it's good to have a life, said Grover, who was wearing a blue turban, with a bright smile and short white sleeves. He was an optimistic man and was well loved by the crew. But it is such a seemingly gentle man who is notorious outside. His cruelty and ferocity are hated by countless people. Blood Blade, Grover, with a bounty of 100 million Bailey, is a supernova. Because of the frequent slaughter of innocent people, after the slaughter, the tip of the knife was covered with blood, so it was nicknamed Blood Blade. This is also the portrayal of many pirates. They are loyal, stab in the side for their brothers, and are gentle and friendly towards their partners. They are reliable comrades in arms, but to their prey they are hideous demons. The New World is really scary, the weather is so bad, and there are those strange sea beasts. It's completely different from the first half. Grover's face was full of worry. Even after passing through countless difficulties, he finally came here. He was terrified of the next voyage. He really wants to back down. The New World is not for people at all. Here, any sea beast can only be defeated by letting him go all out. A storm made them suffer heavy losses, so how terrible are the kings in this ocean? Is the dream of the pirate king really possible? The cruelty of the New World gave the team a blow. Crew morale was low. Even the always optimistic Grover can't be any more optimistic. But as the captain, if even he was down, there was really no hope for them. So he could only force a smile. He was under the greatest pressure of all. Having brought his friends to this Jedi, he is also obliged to bring them back. He no longer expects one piece, such a distant dream. Now there is only one thought, and that is to take my friends and leave the great waterway alive. Rest in place, don't go near the forest, pay attention to safety, Grover ordered. After 20 hours of fighting against the wind and waves, they were exhausted and fell asleep on the beach. As the captain, Grover didn't sleep, and in this strange environment, he couldn't let his guard down. Otherwise, the whole army will be wiped out. The beach where they were now was a long way from the forest in the distance. A wide field of vision can prevent most attacks. Jones, who didn't sleep, was so loyal to Grover that he couldn't sleep peacefully. He knew that the captain was under a lot of pressure, and he had to share a little for him. Captain, go to sleep. The wounds you and the sea beasts left last time should be okay. Just leave the task of vigilance to me, Jones said. Grover shook his head. The creatures of the New World are not something you can handle. He still remembered the mice he met on the last island. They were small in size but fast as lightning. In just an instant, 3 crew members died under their claws. Jones didn't even have time to sound the alarm if he came across that creature. Jones' face darkened. He knew that from the time he entered the Great Fairway, they were all dragging Grover back. The real main force, the deputy captain and other powerful partners, have all been sacrificed in an encounter in the Chambord Islands. I'll look for fresh water. Jones picked up the latest machine gun and walked to the forest. Be careful, don't go too far. Grover nodded to him. Jones walked warily to the forest, where they had been short of water for 3 days. The storm ripped a hole in their hull, which happened to be where fresh water was stored. All the barrels of fresh water fell into the sea. He knew that forests on strange islands were terrifying. But, in order to share a little pressure on Grover, he has to do something. He used a knife to leave marks on the trees he walked to prevent getting lost. The air in the woods is moist, and so is the land. Jones was overjoyed. It had rained here not long ago. Then you're sure to find a waterhole. Sure enough, not long after walking, he saw a small lake. The lake is full of unknown plants. The Sharpie Jones found that in the middle of the lake, there was a rock. A purple fruit with a snail-like pattern lay quietly on it. This is a devil fruit. After being on the Great Route for so long, from the Twin Capes to the New World, he still has a little heard of this secret treasure of the sea. It is said that one bite can give people the power of demons, which is what everyone dreams of. They had wanted to buy one in the black market to make the captain even more powerful, but after waiting for 2 months, there was no stock. Didn't expect to come across one here. Read the latest chapter, please follow. Chapter 263, The Dream Fruit. After waiting for 2 months, there is no stock, of course. Grover and his gang heard that Verslow had a lot to do with the underworld, and devil fruits were often sent there. So I plan to check at the auction house to see if there will be devil fruits. There will be strange. All devil fruits transported from the Subsia route, as long as they are not designated by the 4 emperors or the giants of the dark world, will eventually be transported to the palace of Lovewater and enter the belly of Enel. Enel himself is not enough, how could he let it go to others? Captain, look what I found. Jones happily ran towards the coast with the devil fruit. Jones, have you found the water? Great, said Grover. No, not. The running all the way made Jones, who was already very weak, even more unbearable. No, Grover was a little disappointed. Yes there is, but Jones was incoherent. He put the devil fruit in front of Grover. He is not good at speaking, and when he gets excited, he can't explain anything clearly. Let's explain it in real terms. This is a devil fruit. Grover was taken aback. Where did you come from? There is a small lake in the forest, very shallow. I picked it up in the middle of the lake. Grover looked envious and hesitated to return the fruit to Jones. You are so lucky. Captain, eat it quickly, you will definitely become the Pirate King. Jones had inexplicable confidence in him. Grover shook his head. No, let's go back. I've thought about leaving the Great Waterway. The sea is so big, you can go anywhere. There's no need to waste the lives of brothers in this place. This devil fruit is yours. He will not embezzle the interests of his subordinates. If it is a treasure chest, it may be listed as collective income and then distributed. But personal possessions, such as devil fruits, he will not covet. Although the devil fruit made him very envious, Grover was able to restrain himself. Jones shook his head. Captain, you saved my life. On the sea of despair everything I have is yours. I can give my life for you at any time. This fruit, after you eat it, will be for us the improvement of the entire pirate group is more effective than me. Quote. Are you really willing to give this fruit? Grover stared at Jones. The latter nodded. Hey Tilda, I may have failed your trust, I'm tired. Everyone should be tired, let's sell it. The money we get is enough for each of us to play for a lifetime, Jero Buddha said. This fruit it's worth 5 billion. 5 billion. Jones's eyes almost popped out. How is that possible? How can the devil fruit be sold for 5 billion? Captain, don't be deceived. After spreading his influence to almost the entire Great Route, Enel issued a bounty. With 5 billion Baileys, a reward for the secret fruit. Enel always felt that something was missing from his fruit awakening, and he suspected that it was this dark fruit. After eating the black dragon fruit from the beginning, he also had a hunch while gaining the ability. The black dragon doesn't seem to be very complete, as if it has been separated from its minions. His dark ability is a castrated version, far less powerful than what Tiki showed in the original book. It is impossible to grasp the entity of the devil fruit person, and it is impossible to separate the fruit ability of the dead person. The most ferocious and powerful ability of the dark, he actually does not have it. At first his dark abilities were used almost exclusively for concealment. Later, after several years of development, it has the ability to devour the vitality of corpses. Then, with the reinforcement of a lot of demon power, it gradually gained destructive power. In strengthening the darkness, he spent a total of the demon power obtained from 50 devil fruits. More than half of the savings of 10 years are spent on this. However, the core ability of restraining the ability still did not appear. Dark fruit has a very special function, swallowing, and compatible. This is something that all the other devil fruits don't have. If you eat 2 devil fruits, it will explode, which is the battle between the 2 demons in the body and the energy conflict. After obtaining the dark fruit, Blackbeard can also have the shock fruit, probably because the demon in the dark fruit suppresses the demon in the shock fruit, so there is no problem of the demon fighting in the body. Enel guessed that he might be able to eat the dark fruit again without conflicting with his own abilities. The black dragon itself can manipulate the power of darkness, and it should be able to suppress the demons of darkness. Just like every time he was absorbing the vitality of the devil fruit, there was always a huge black dragon that covered the sun all day long, and stretched out its huge claws to grab the devil. Then completely devoured the flesh and blood of the devil. However, there were times when the black dragon was deflated. When he got the thunder fruit, he tried to detect the thunder demon, but the black dragon was repelled by the thunder and lightning. Enel felt a throbbing in his heart every time he thought of the dark fruit. It was not his soul's cognition of the dark fruit. He felt that the ability was powerful and wanted to obtain it. It comes from the instinctive desire of the body. The thunder fruit is also a very powerful force, but even when it was on the empty island, when the thunder fruit was in hand, there was nothing unusual. But the dark fruit, even if you just think about it, there is a feeling of being unable to control yourself. Enel was convinced that the dark fruit had extraordinary meaning to him. It has been determined since he just ate the black dragon fruit. Therefore, after he became quite influential in the dark world, he offered a sky-high bounty to buy the dark fruit. The purpose of his establishment of power and deliberately maintaining a good relationship with Brother Ming is largely for the secret fruit. Looking for this fruit by yourself is tantamount to looking for a needle in a haystack. Finding a specific fruit from all over the world is almost impossible without a huge power. With a gambler-like style like Blackbeard, it can only be said that it was the blessing of fate that he met him. Just like the protagonist. Think of another Sanji who was as obsessed with a certain devil fruit as Blackbeard. In contrast, the judgment is high. Sanji's dream is always so far away. There was Absalom who ate the transparent fruit in the front, and Sekupi who ate the colored fruit in the back. Full of tears. Ainil's luck has always been bad, and with the help of the underworld tycoon Ming, he is more efficient than himself. He is black. Not long after I crossed, I took a gamble and ate the black dragon fruit, thinking that I had smuggled into Europe. It turned out that it still didn't change, but the atmosphere of the African Emirates became heavier. He may have lost his way to Africa. Chapter 265 Action. Verslow, on the sandy beach of the inland sea. The sky was cloudless and the sun was shining brightly. Under the direct rays of light, the sand absorbed the heat and stepped on it warmly. Enel was dressed in colorful clothes and half-knee-length trousers. Lie on a reclining chair next to a small white table. He holds a glass of orange juice with ice in his hand. On the beach, dressed in scantily clad, beautiful young girls laughing. There is also the smell of grilled fish coming from the side. There are many vendors selling cold drinks and barbecues by the beach. The flowery Verslow is a country of tourism and entertainment. Next to Enel was a gorgeous and beautiful woman in a three-point swimsuit and a white hat with embroidered flowers. There was not a trace of fat on his body, and his limbs were slender. She is the biggest bustard in the pirate world, the giant of the underground world, the queen of Happy Street, Stacy. Its real identity is CP0 Feet S spy. Carter, on the other side, was also lying on the reclining chair, with a round belly like a ball. He wore a pair of sunglasses and looked up at the sky. Roy lay on Carter's stomach, holding a fashion magazine. Ha 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 ha, how come Miss Stacy is free to come to me? Do you miss me? Enel said in a light tone. In the past 10 years, he has been the image of a degenerate nobleman who is content to enjoy himself. Except for Moria, who dared to rob him of his cargo ship, and Tezzolo, who paid with fake gold, at the beginning of the business road, he basically did not do anything. With his current strength, even a general cannot easily kill him. Therefore, it is not so urgent to improve the strength. The mentality has also changed, without the original cautiousness, and acting more calmly. You're still the same. Can't the little girls in Scented Paradise satisfy you? Stressy smiled charmingly. Well, they're not as pretty as you. I don't like it. Really good at talking. Thank you for your compliment. Would you like to stay tonight? My room is very empty. Enel continued to die. Stressy's strength is not weak. If she is unprepared, she may be seriously injured by her. But that's it, Enel couldn't feel the life-threatening breath in her. Anyway, she can't cause fatal damage to herself, so come on. Get up front. He is not cowardly. I want to drive, Aromatic Paradise, to Dressrosa and Fishman Island, can you help me? Stacy approached Enel, her body was about to stick to it. Smelling the fragrance on her body, Enel has only one thought in mind: I really want it. I really want her vitality. Dressrosa is Mingji's territory, you can go to him directly. You should know him too. As for Fishman Island, do you think a group of fish would be interested in human women? Enel said. Boom blah blah blah. The phone bug rang. Moses, who is it? I'm chatting with the beautiful young lady. Tell me if you have something. Fuyang Yang, you seem to have had a good time. The phone bug restored the other party's expression with a mad face. Aren't you thriving there too? Yeah, it's going so well, I feel a little bored. It's boring, it means peace. Isn't it peaceful? Enjoy life on a comfortable day. Go to the beach to see beauties in swimsuits and the like. Enel took a sip of orange juice. Peace, would you like peace? Doflamingo laughed wildly as if he had heard a joke. He also knows I kneel well, like peace. Give me a break. If it's really peaceful, where did the corpses that you might bring come from? At that time, Enel is expected to take the initiative to provoke a war. By the way, what are you looking for me for? Enel asked. That thing found it. That thing. Enel didn't respond for a while. It's what you entrusted me to look for, 10 years ago. After being reminded by Doflamingo, Enel finally remembered. Immediately stood up excitedly. What? Did you really find it? You wait, I'll go right there. Enel spread his wings and soared into the sky. Carter also jumped into the sea. The weakness of being weak when falling into the sea has not been resolved, so if there is an important matter, Carter will act with Enel and support him in the sea. Roy shouted, don't forget to bring me some specialties. Really, or all men like this? 1 second they looked at people with such fiery eyes, and the next second they ran away without a trace. Stacy looked at the direction Enel left, with a smile on the corner of her mouth, not knowing what she was thinking. In order to easily identify the direction, Enel made a lot of life cards and buried them on various important islands. He took out the life card with Dressrosa written on it and flew in the direction indicated. Doflamingo had been waiting for him on the roof of the palace. When he saw Enel flying down, he stood up and said, you came so fast. Is that fruit really that important? Where's the stuff? It's not in my hands yet. Blood Blade, Grover found the fruit and contacted my subordinate. This is my subordinate's life card. Doflamingo handed a piece of paper to Enel. Because the Don Quixote family often dealt with Enel, and some important goods, Enel would personally come to collect them. He was not navigating, could not tell the direction, and felt that the boat was too slow. Therefore, Doflamingo's little leaders must each have a life card. Oh thanks. Enel rushed in that direction in a hurry. Isn't this guy always slow before? This is the first time I see him in such a hurry. Said Baby 5. Wah 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 wah, I always feel that he may have a big news this time, and that guy from Morgan's is probably going to clap his hands. Among the clouds, a black dragon whistled and flew past. The body collided with the air, and a sharp whistle echoed. Like a fighter jet. In the ocean, the big pink cat with a serious look followed the black dragon closely. Catwalk tread water. Enel was flying very fast. Carter used the technique of the moon step to hurry at full speed, and still could barely keep up. This is still the result of him deliberately slowing down the speed, otherwise he would have disappeared long ago. Enel's arrogant speed, coupled with his strong body, made him dare to face any enemy. The 4 emperors and generals were no longer the dark clouds above his head. Just a goal to be surpassed. If the situation does not change, he will be enough to attack the Sea Emperor's seat for more than 10 years. He becomes stronger, and there is no limit to the human body. But the wave of the times has already begun. The wind has changed. Wave, get up. A storm sweeping the world was brewing, and Enel faintly sensed the turmoil of the times. And the goal of his trip may be the introduction to the hurricane of this era. Read the latest chapter, please follow. Chapter 266 Unknown Newbie. Through the narrow and winding path, the bushes on both sides are lush. A small hill rises, and at the end of the hill is a small town. At the entrance of the town, there is a tall arch, and above the door, a flag hangs. The crescent skull flag, which is the symbol of Whitebeard. It also means that this small island is under the protection of Whitebeard, and all hostile actions are regarded as a challenge to that flag. In the restaurant, a group of pirates feasted. "Hey, hurry up and serve. Is my pizza ready?" said a pirate sitting cross-legged on a chair. "Wine, get wine." "Sorry, there is no more wine in our restaurant. A large group of customers came yesterday and they drank all the wine," the waiter said cautiously. They often receive pirates, and most pirates follow the rules. But there are also a small number of ignorant guys who disregard the majesty of the Whitebeard and start here. Although once this situation is discovered, report it up, and someone will come to deal with it soon. But that was an afterthought. Basically, to that extent, it was already a life-threatening situation. It was too late to say anything at that time, and the waiter still cherished his own life. He tried his best to lower his posture so as not to offend the pirates. Unfortunately, today this group is a bunch of stunned young people. The Blood Blades pirate group itself is famous for its fierce reputation, and the small towns destroyed by them are no less than one-handed. In addition, since entering the New World, the various difficulties they have encountered have made them extremely irritable. When the pirate heard that there was no wine, he was furious. "What? You bastard! There is no wine in the hotel, you are kidding me. I'm really sorry, there's really no more. The boss has already arranged for someone to buy the goods. Calculate the time, it should be there soon." "Damn, do you mean to let Lao Su wait for you here?" "Huh," he drew his saber from his waist. "No wait, forgive me ah." The blade fell, blood spilled. The waiter wailed. At the door, a carriage pulling the goods stopped, and the wine arrived. But it was too late. "Ah, killed," screamed the delivery girl at the door. "Go and contact the Whitebeard pirates." A passerby shouted. Grover, who was shopping, noticed the commotion and asked, "What happened?" Jones inquired about it, and his face was not very good. "It's our people who are making trouble." "What, asshole?" Grover ran towards the riot. "Hurry up and stop me." "Huh, boss. These bastards don't sell me alcohol." "Idiot, didn't I tell you to stop messing around here?" Grover roared. He repeatedly told them not to make trouble before disembarking, and this happened anyway. Seeing that the always nice captain was really angry, he obediently lowered his head and did not dare to speak. On the other hand, another crew member who heard the news muttered, "Isn't it just killing someone? We have done it before." "What, Captain, are you leaving? The Whitebeard might be coming," Jones asked. "Call and ask the people from the Black Triangle Business Alliance when they will arrive. It's half an hour before our agreed meeting time. Let everyone hurry back to the boat and prepare to sail." Jones took out the flare. With a pink firework blooming in the air, the crew of the Blood Blades pirates rushed towards where their ships were moored. Grover took out the phone bug and dialed the phone number of the Small Business Alliance leader who was in charge of contacting them. "Ah, it's a Blood Blade. Our ship encountered a storm, so we came a little late, but we can already see the island, and we will be there in half an hour. Hurry up, I have something urgent to do here, so I have to leave quickly. Grover's voice was urgent. We're going full speed ahead, 15 minutes. Given the importance of this transaction, Dive didn't dare to pretend. Since the other party wants to be early, he will try his best to cooperate. Otherwise, if a newcomer dares to speak to him with such a tough attitude, Diff will never give him a good face. Now, he has also become a cadre in the Don Quixote family, in charge of the liaison work of Enel. This time, when he heard that it was the fruit that Enel wanted, he rushed over without stopping. Grover's luck is very bad. No one is stationed on such a small island, but yesterday, the captain of the 4th Division, Thatch, happened to be passing by with a group of people. It was they who drank all the wine in that restaurant. They didn't enjoy drinking in the restaurant, and they bought a lot of wine and took it back to the ship to drink. Now one by one lying on the deck snoring. Boom blah blah blah. Sachi yawned and picked up the phone in a daze. Hello who? It's me, Marco. Are you near Puzzlin Island? The phone bug rolled the dead fish's eyes. I'm on Puzzlin Island right now, with the Decarbon brothers. What's the matter? Is something wrong? There is a rookie who doesn't have long eyes to kill on the island. Go and deal with it. Oh, I see. After hanging up the phone, Sachi's face turned gloomy. To dare to provoke our Whitebeard pirates, the newcomers really don't know how high the sky is. What's the matter, Thatch? A fat man in a white shirt also woke up and asked. I'm going to clean up a bunch of newcomers who don't know what to do. Thief, ha 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 ha, it is the duty of each of us to maintain the majesty of the Father. Let me go too. Do you want to wake them up? Titch looked at the sleepy crew members. No, it's just a newcomer, and it will be resolved soon. Let's go, Titch. Marco, come over there too. Whitebeard, sitting on a large sofa, put the bottle on the table. The wine glass is affixed with a triangle logo with black stripes on a red background, produced by the Val's Lohman Sherry Distillery. Health Recovery Medicinal Wine. Huh. I'm a little worried. I always have a bad premonition. It seems like a storm is coming. Whitebeard knew that his physical condition, his health, was deteriorating. Even as powerful as he is, it is no match for aging and disease. The dark wounds left in the early battles were eroding his body. Time is running out. Whitebeard stared at the wine bottle. His face was reflected in the dark green glass bottle. The corners of his eyes were full of wrinkles, but only those eyes still exuded terrifying sharpness. I see, Marco turned into a blue monster whose whole body was composed of flames. Change direction, let's go to Puzzlin. After Marco left, Whitebeard still couldn't erase the anxiety in his heart, so he said. Got it, Dad. Huh. The air roared, and a sharp sound echoed in the heaven and earth. Enel followed the instructions of the life card and quickly approached Diff's location. Chapter 267 Blackbeard Favored by Fate. Puzzlin Island, by the coast. Blood stained the beach red, and corpses were soaked in the seawater. Blood blade, Sachi looked at the tip of the knife emerging from his heart with an unbelievable look. The enemy should have been resolved. What's going on? He turned around with difficulty, and saw a black beard with a sinister face. Why? The thief, ha ha ha, 20 years. I have held back for 20 years. I finally found it. Captain Sachi, blame yourself. You shouldn't have picked up that fruit. It belongs to me. Blackbeard laughed out loud. The dream thing is finally here. 20 years. 20 years of silently staying in the Whitebeard Pirates, and the years of forbearance and endless waiting made him feel a little disheartened. However, the goddess of fate did not abandon him, and today he finally got his wish. All the hard work has been worth it, and it has turned into a fruit at this moment. Ambition also grows like a mad weed with power. The blood that had begun to cool began to boil again. Thatch's consciousness plunged into darkness. Why? Oh my friend, if you want, I can give you. Titch picked up the dark fruit from Sage and opened his mouth to eat it. Like a person who has been hungry for a week when he encounters food, he devours it. Darkness poured out from his body and turned into a black pillar soaring into the sky. Feeling the overflowing power in the body, the excitement and joy are beyond words, turning into wanton laughter and madness. The darkness devoured everything around it and turned it into powder. Liberation. Planks and broken limbs fell. The pirate ship seemed to be flattened from the deck. After all, Titch is a person who can endure, and after experiencing the excitement at the beginning, he quickly calmed down. Think about your current situation. After killing Thatch, the Whitebeard pirates can't go back. If he just got the fruit and betrayed the pirates, he wouldn't say anything with Whitebeard's arrogance. He won't stop his son from chasing his dreams. But killing a companion is an unforgivable felony. No matter where he is, Titch is now strong enough to be vertical and horizontal. The premise is that you don't mess with those who stand at the top. Compared with the 4 emperors, he is still a little worse. Regardless of its own strength or power. At least, leave the New World first. In this sea area, the power of the 4 sovereigns is so outrageous that they are on Whitebeard's hunt list, and staying here is tantamount to courting death. Wait for the opportunity, and then slowly map it. He didn't have a specific goal at this time, so he would first meet with his partners, and then discuss the next move. So Blackbeard made a small raft out of a tree trunk, took some fresh water and food, and started his voyage. Sailing on the waters of the New World with a small raft, he is such a brave man. The Decarbon brothers woke up Yo-Yo. Where's Sachi? Why is it gone? Why is it gone? Where's Sachi? They are one of the 43 pirates under the Whitebeard group. They do not belong to the Whitebeard pirates themselves. They call him Daddy, because they admire Whitebeard. Usually, he also undertakes the responsibility of helping Whitebeard maintain order on the site. The Decarbon brothers are very familiar with the captains of the Whitebeard regiment, and this time Thatch is looking for them to drink with them. He won't go back alone, will he? Why didn't you say hello to us? But the people he brought are still there. They saw a black plume of smoke rising in the distance. What is that? Let's go and see. They woke the crew and rushed in that direction. By the time they arrived, Blackbeard had already left. Looking at the sailboat that was flattened from the deck, and the corpses on the beach, the Decalbin brothers showed interest. Oh, something's done. Who are they? Captain, look, a pirate suddenly shouted. Looking in his direction, Decarbon showed a panicked expression. Thatch lay on the deck, covered in blood. Hey Thatch, what's the matter with you? Cheer up. Brother, he's dead. He was stabbed in the heart with a knife. Captain. The team members brought by Sachi cried. What the hell is going on? These guys should be newbies, right? How could the captain die at their hands? The pirate flag has been torn and shattered, and the original graphics cannot be seen clearly. But someone found Grover's body on the beach. From this, their identities were identified. Hurry up and contact Daddy. Whitebeard on the Moby Dick got the news. Silent. A depressing atmosphere enveloped the whole world. Everyone on the boat felt tightness in their chests and a feeling of being out of breath. The king of this sea is angry. Heaven and earth seem to be responding to his mood. The sky darkened, dark clouds shrouded, lightning and thunder. The sea was rolling, and Pengbai was turbulent. The seabed was shaking, the sky seemed to be torn apart, and a huge hole appeared in the air. The atmosphere vibrated and hummed. The whole world is shaking. Pong bang, the wine bottle shattered. The smell of alcohol mixed with the smell of medicine spread out. The brown wine ran down the table, dripping from the edge. Joes crossed his arms around his chest and said nothing. But his gritted teeth showed the anger at this time. Tell Marco that that bastard Sachi was attacked by someone and stopped him when he saw any suspicious person. If he dares to shoot at my son, he will bear my wrath. Boom. Whitebeard stood up and stepped on the deck trembling. I haven't shot for more than 10 years. It seems that someone has forgotten my name. Blood Blade, ship was anchored was the meeting place agreed with Diff. Diff, who didn't know what was going on, just bumped into it. Most of the pirates were reckless, and the Decarbon brothers took action and tied them up as suspects. "Who are you?" Brother Decarbon looked at Diff with a bad expression. "Bastards, what are you doing? Let me go, or you will look good," Diff shouted angrily. As an important cadre of the Black Triangle Chamber of Commerce Alliance, it was the first time he was treated so rudely. His eyes seemed to breathe fire. The Decarbon brothers were also irritated by the death of Thatch. Seeing that Diff was so uncooperative, they punched him directly. "I'm Diff from the Black Triangle Chamber of Commerce. I'm here to make a deal." Diff was honest in an instant, and the hero did not suffer immediate losses. "Now the situation is not good for you, let's admit it first. Are you dealing with Grover?" "Yeah," Diff nodded. "Why did you choose this place? What are the items traded?" "I didn't choose the location, it was Grover's idea. As for the items, this is a secret." Diff's eyes fluttered. Chapter 268 arrived. The news of Sachi's murder suddenly spread to all the pirates under Whitebeard's command. The entire Whitebeard's territory has entered a state of martial law. As the king of the sea, Whitebeard's every move is affecting the situation of the whole world. The unusual actions of the pirates under Whitebeard's command were also known to all parties at the first time. Wah shouldn't it have something to do with that guy Enel? As an underworld boss, Doflamingo has a very developed intelligence system. "I feel the smell of big news." Morgans was excited like a shark smelling blood. "Huh, what's that white-bearded old man doing?" "Forget it, don't care." Kaido stood in the crater and jumped in. "Boss Kaido," his men exclaimed. "Is that old man acting abnormally?" Shanks smelled something sensitively. "Pay attention to the movements over there, and tell me immediately if there is any news." "I won't say it, it's a trade secret." Dive had a bruised nose and a swollen face, and no matter how the Decarbon brothers beat him, he gritted his teeth and endured it. He just doesn't let go of what he wants to trade. To be able to achieve the position of a cadre, he is also a bit of a thing himself, at least he can see the situation clearly. He understands that the other party will not kill him easily, it's just a beating, he can endure it. Knowing that Enel will be here soon, he only needs to delay for a while. In the current situation, as long as one opens his eyes, he knows that this transaction has been blown. Diff didn't know that the dark fruit had been eaten by Blackbeard. Maybe Grover hid the fruit better, and it may not have been found by the group of people in front of him. If he revealed the contents of the transaction and made them intensify their search, and the fruit was discovered, Enel would definitely kill him. For the safety of his own life and to leave a good impression in Enel's heart, Diff decided to act as a loyal tough guy. For such a loyal person, the Decarbon brothers also admired them. Now he's just suspect, so he didn't kill him. What they didn't know was that Diff was in a panic now. Pay close attention to each other's movements, and once they want to kill themselves, immediately change their words and cooperate. "Huh." A sharp whistling sound sounded, and the air seemed to be compressed, making a bang. Black objects swept quickly over the woods, leaves rustling in the wind. Diff felt like his eardrum was about to be punctured. Boom. A wave of air came. The screeching subsided. A large crater appeared on the deck, as if it had been bombarded by shells. Sawdust splashes. Raising his hand to cover his eyes, the Decarbon brothers looked at the opposite side solemnly. The movement of this appearance alone is worthy of their vigilance. "Who are you?" They looked at each other and understood what the other was trying to convey. "This guy who came is very strong and very suspicious." "Diff, where's the stuff?" Ignoring them, Enel asked directly. "I'm sorry, Lord Enel, I didn't see Grover, and I was kidnapped by them as soon as I came." Dive cried, "They forced me to ask about the content of the transaction. I didn't tell them anything, I just got beaten up. None of this is revealed." "In other words, something was lost," Enel said sullenly. "This I things may still be on their ship. The seller seems to have been killed before I came." Seeing Enel and Diff chatting like no one else, the Decarbon brothers were furious. They are also famous captains in the New World, who dares to ignore them like this? "You bastard, are you courting death?" Are you looking for death? You bastard. We are asking you, who are you? Because Anal didn't make a lot of shots, and stayed in Verslow for a long time, there were very few people who really saw him. Although the King's 7 Wuhai Anal Viserys Lafawater is famous, there are really not many people who can recognize him when they meet him. As the thing in your hands? Anal asked. What nonsense are you talking about? Get out of the way, out of the way. Anal stretched out his index finger, and black energy condensed in his hand. This is taking advantage of the compatibility characteristics of darkness and completely integrating the domineering darkness of the armed color. It is fundamentally different from the tenure use of gravity to forcibly gather domineering. This range is longer and the power is greater, and there is no distance limit due to instability. Dragon Breath Flash. The Decarbon brothers are famous even in the New World, and of course they will not fall down because of such a simple attack. They swiftly stepped aside. The black beam cut through the sea water was drawn to both sides, and a straight semicircular channel appeared on the sea. Boom boom boom. A huge explosion sounded in the distance. Hairang rolled towards the center from both sides of the passage, hitting and splashing white water waves. The Decarbon brothers felt a lingering in their hearts. This kind of attack, if they were hit, they would feel uncomfortable. They rushed towards Anya from left to right. Since it has already started, there is no need to worry too much. Whether you can win or not, you will know after playing. They are all brave and will not back down because the enemy is powerful. That is, as long as Enel, he will directly judge the strength based on the quality of the opponent's life. If the life force is one energy level lower than his own, he will fight. If you are the same or taller than yourself, run away. According to his scum physique, with the same physique, he is generally unable to beat others. The sharp claws swung down, but Anal still stood still. You know how good we are. Something's wrong. What? How is that possible? They used a domineering attack with armed colors and slashed at Neil's chest, which was completely ineffective. They didn't feel that Anal was using domineering, that is to say, the other party took their claws down only with the hardness of his body. I'm not in the mood to play with you guys, that's how claws are supposed to be used. Dragon-shaped hands, and then punch them in the abdomen, knocking them into the sea. The mouth says claws, but the fist is used, there is nothing wrong with that. Cut the rope tied to Diff. You hurry up and go to the Chambord archipelago. These guys are under the command of Whitebeard. If you have a conflict with them, it is not safe to stay in the New World. Anal didn't know them, 2 characters who only showed their faces in the comics, he couldn't remember them. But some of them have Whitebeard marks tattooed on their bodies. Yes, Diff let go of his sailors and directly steered the boat to the sea. Anal flew to the ship of Blood Blade, and he felt a little familiar with the shards of wooden boards and broken arms that seemed to be squeezed on the sea. He searched for a long time, but couldn't find the dark fruit. Boom! A punch hit the boat. Looking at the Decalban brothers who came back from the sea and were walking onto the beach, their eyes were full of killing intent. Chapter 269. Come on, hurt each other. It was only after beating the Decarbon brothers to their deaths that Anal figured out what had happened. It was his trade partner, the newcomer who was lucky enough to get the dark fruit, and committed an accident on the Whitebeard pirates' territory. So Thatch was sent to deal with them. But I don't know what happened on the way. Sachi was stabbed with a knife. The dark fruit is also gone, and at the same time the black beard is missing. Enel suddenly wanted to understand the whole process. He wondered why he went back to the original book again. He has done a lot of things after crossing over, and there are some things in the original book that can't be fanned by the butterfly effect caused by him. For example, Ace rose to fame on the Great Route, and failed to challenge Whitebeard and eventually became his son. This is a matter of the character's own aptitude and will, as long as Enel does not interfere directly and forcibly change the trajectory of one of them. Just relying on the chain effect of what he did would not have a serious impact on them. It can be said that it is an inevitable event, and the factor of luck is very small. Ace itself has the aptitude of a strong man, and it is inevitable that he will be prosperous on the great route. Enel's actions change the distribution of some forces, but this change could not have a fundamental impact on Ace. Ace will challenge Whitebeard. This is his own will and has nothing to do with Enel. Whitebeard will appreciate Ace, and this is his own will, not influenced by Enel. In the end, Ace was convinced by Whitebeard's bearing and willingly became the other party's son. Enel did not attack Ace directly as he entered the Great Passage. Under the decision of the above factors, Ace embarked on the trajectory in the original book. But Blackbeard is different. Enel's influence is more reflected in the underground world. He's been in business for so long and has had a huge impact on the underworld. Especially the half of the devil fruit. The situation is completely different from the original. This time, someone even contacted Enel directly and wanted to sell the dark fruit to him. A nail hurt a horse's hoof, a warhorse broke a general, and the general was injured and the war was lost. Enel's actions this time are no longer a problem of the nail effect. Instead, it threw a nuclear bomb into the enemy force, directly distorting the final result. But Blackbeard is so lucky. Various factors were distorted by Enel so much that he directly interfered, but he was lucky enough to get the dark fruit. Enel feels as if the dark fruit seems to recognize the master, and it must be obtained by Blackbeard. The fruit itself chose Blackbeard. Since Stitch disappeared not long ago, he should not have gone far. With Enel's flying speed coupled with his familiar Wideria search ability, should be able to catch up. Enel rushed into the sky and flew in a random direction. He flew back and forth in the air a few times, but couldn't find Blackbeard. Suddenly, a strong vitality broke into his perception range. If Garp's life is thick, and the life of the 5 old stars is long, then this life gives him the feeling of tenacity. It's like a thread that is being cut incessantly. This vitality is also rich in color, slightly lower than Enel. But judging from his past experience, considering the gap in physical skills, the opponent and himself should be on a par. Possibly Blackbeard. Having made such a judgment, Enel flew straight towards him. After a while, Enel suddenly stopped and realized that something was wrong. It was still a long way away. Even Enel's arrogance in the exploration line couldn't tell the opponent's position. Now that he was close, he noticed that the man was also in the air. Can Blackbeard fly? The answer is negative. Got the wrong person. It was important to find Blackbeard now, he didn't want to make trouble. But that life was originally scurrying around aimlessly, and after approaching, it suddenly flew straight towards Enel. Enel also entered the range of the other party's sight. Realizing that the other party's purpose was his own, Enel didn't want to dodge either. There are not many people who can let him retreat now. Then go meet up and see who it is. When the two sides came within the visual distance, Enel saw a strange bird with blue flames. The identity of the visitor is about to be revealed, the captain of the 1st Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, the Phoenix Marco. When Marco saw Enel, he turned around without saying a word, and kicked him. Enel raised his left arm in front of him. Phoenix, Marco, what are you doing so murderously? Bastard. Did you do it? Black Coffin, Enel. What? That guy killed that guy. While talking, he punched Marco. I'm talking about the Decalbans. Did you beat them up like this? Marco backed away slightly to avoid the punch. Ah, I'm right. There's still a life left. That's what matters about Sachi. My target is the murderer too. How about we save our fight for a later date? Enel suggested. It's not so good. I can already see your behavior as a declaration of war on our Whitebeard pirates. I have no plans to let go of the enemy right in front of me. That traitor Tiki will naturally be cleaned up. There. The flames rose, dazzling. A dazzling blue flame burns as beautifully as a fireworks bloom. In this splendid scene, there is a fierce murderous intention hidden. This is the anger of a deputy of the 4 emperors. He turned around again and kicked Enel's waist at a tricky angle. Boom. What? Marco's eyes widened in surprise, and he felt like his right foot was kicked into steel. Although he is still in the process of testing, he has not used all his strength, but he is carrying a domineering attack that even a general cannot ignore. But the person in front of him seemed to be indifferent, with a playful smile on his face. Anil raised his right hand and pointed his index finger at Marco. The black sphere condensed at his fingertips, then turned into a black beam, and blasted away. Ha! The black on pierced the air and made a sharp whistle. The beam pierced through Marco's head as smoothly as a bullet pierced through a piece of paper. Boom! There was an explosion from the sea in the distance. The sea was turbulent, and the waves rolled. The cyan flame was still churning, and in just an instant, the injury that had broken half of the head was restored to its original state in the flames. This is the ability of the phoenix fruit of the animal-type phantom beast species. No matter what kind of injury, it can be restored to its original state in an instant, and the price paid is only a little physical strength. The speed of light recovery is absolutely second to none. Whether it is thunder, beam, flame, or domineering, any damage caused by an attack is ineffective for him. As long as he still has physical strength, as long as his abilities can still be activated, all injuries will not have any effect on him. Phoenix, what a tricky ability. Enel's attention is now not attracted by Marco. Titch ran away. It doesn't matter, just find a chance to kill again. As long as he is still on this sea, he will meet one day. Now he has been engulfed in anger. You Whitebeard pirates messed up my business, and you are still entangled. Do you really think I am so annoying? In the past, he used to discuss matters and avoid fighting as much as possible, because his strength was still relatively weak at that time, and his life might be in danger when facing a strong general like a general. Now, he dares to do a few tricks to anyone. Anyway, his powerful body, coupled with his unparalleled speed, is enough to retreat after a head-to-head confrontation with an opponent at the level of the three generals. Not to mention Marco, even if Whitebeard is here, he dares to rush over to throw a few breaths, and then run away. Anil was never a sane man, and his emotions dominated. In the past, it was because the fear of death attribute was full, and now there is no threat to life, so why are you afraid of giving the ball? If you want to fight, fight. Come on, hurt each other. Who will be afraid? Chapter 270 Long Ming. Boom 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 boom. Bang. The two kept colliding in the air and separated. In the constant testing, gradually understand the opponent's ability. Even if Enel already knew about Marco's abilities in the comics of his previous life, he would not attack rashly. After all, there are still many things that are not shown in the comics, and the negligence of some small details may be finished. Marco also roughly understood Enel's abilities. Ultra-high defense, monster-like brute force, and extremely high flying speed, as well as the kind of dark power that combines domineering and destructive power. It's like a killing machine. This kind of ability, on the battlefield, is definitely a nightmare. But now it's a heads up. Boom. Marco suddenly increased his strength and kicked Enel away. Not long after the confrontation started, Enel had already transformed into a half-dragon form with wings on his back and a long tail. In the face of an emperor's deputy, he did not dare to be careless. With Marco's full-strength kick, his dragon scales shattered, and bright red blood flowed out. Damn, what kind of monster is this? This kind of defense is simply a turtle shell. Marco twitched the corners of his mouth. Many pirates regard Shichibukai as a lackey of the government. Although Marco does not agree with this view so superficially, he still holds a certain contempt for Shichibukai, who has compromised with the government and is bound by the treaty. Pirates are free. Can the restrained pirates really be called real pirates? Across the sea, sailing freely and freely, that is what a real pirate should look like. These guys who are colluding with the government have lost in terms of gas. The Chihuahua that made him face up was only the world's largest swordsman with the red hair, Hawkeye, and Hexia Jinping, who was known for his benevolence and righteousness. However, at this moment, his heart was inspiring. He suddenly realized sadly that he didn't seem to have the means to deal an effective blow to Enel. After realizing that Marco's attack power is stronger, Enel took the initiative to back away to distance himself. Darkness poured out from behind him, and then transformed into a black dragon. The scales with a metallic sheen are as hard as steel. The slender body explained, full of the beauty of strength and speed. Claws, fangs, all show his lethality. This is the beauty of nature, the beauty of the wild. It seems to be the most primitive combination of strength, speed, and defense. Roar. The roar that shook the world sounded, the sea surged in an instant, the clouds rolled, and the black mist filled the air, as if darkness had descended. The sun's rays were blocked, and the whole world seemed to be at dusk when the sun had already set. Only a thin layer of halo shines in places barely visible to the naked eye. What? Marco was startled, looking solemnly at the black dragon roaring in the sky, and suddenly felt a sense of panic. Longley overwhelmingly swept the world. This kind of coercion is an innate ability, and it will not consume a lot of energy like the tyrannical domineering. As long as you don't deliberately control and target someone, you only need to consume a small amount of mental power. Marco immediately noticed the difference between this kind of coercion and the domineering of the overlord. As the number 2 character of the Whitebeard Pirates, he has seen many kinds of domineering. Even if it is a domineering overlord like the Redhead, he has felt it more than once or twice. However, there has never been a tyrannical color as aggressive as Aniel's dragon might. The fish that was still in the middle rolled his eyes and floated on the sea with his belly upside down. The larger sea beasts quickly fled into the distance, wishing they had 2 more legs each. No, 2 more pairs of fins. They seem to be targeted by natural enemies, and they seem to be escaping from natural disasters. Roar. There was another roar, the air seemed to be compressed, and the wind whistled. The swollen air turned into wind pressure, and the flames that blew Marco scattered. The cyan flame churned in the air, and after leaving Marco's body, it turned into a faint spark and dissipated. In this dark world, this is the only place that shines here. Like a group of fireflies surrounding him, it is dazzlingly beautiful. The raw flame is full of vitality, with a fantastic haze. The darkness of death is breathtaking. As if all the light, beauty, and vitality are going to be swallowed up, it is terrifying. Hey, this kind of power seems familiar. Marco suddenly thought of a powerful enemy who had fought before, one of the kings who reigned in the New World Kaido, 100 Beasts. Although there is still a gap compared to Kaido, the beast-like fury is almost the same. It is also the defense of the turtle shell, the unreasonable power, and the speed that makes people feel terrifying. However, Enel is a little less sensitive, his fighting consciousness is also weaker, and his physical skills are far worse. Marco's face darkened, and his defense was obviously improved. How do you fight this? Peel off a little bloody skin at a time. In the language of the game, it is do not break the defense. He only caused a little damage by attacking with all his strength. Is this still a joke? Little did he know that his own abilities were equally disgusting, and he would recover in an instant after each injury, and he was simply a little strong who couldn't be beaten to death. No, it is more tenacious than Xiao Qiang's vitality. Now he finally felt the pain of those who fought him. Obviously hit, but there is no result. This is very embarrassing. In the distance, Whitebeard's ears on the Moby Dick moved, and he vaguely heard a sound. Enel's roar had reached this point and was inaudible. Even with the domineering color of seeing and hearing, it is difficult to hear. Did I worry too much? Whitebeard looked in Puzzlin's direction with sharp eyes. A black spot kept expanding in his eyes. Hey, you look ahead. What is that? From their position, there is a black spot where the sea and the sky meet in front of them. In the blue sea and bright sky, such a black spot is so abrupt. It's like throwing a drop of ink on a piece of paper. Dark cloud. It doesn't look like it. It looks like a piece of black cloth. That's where Puzzlin is, isn't it? Did something happen with Captain Marco? Animal type you demons dragon fruit, you really have eaten something incredible. Marco stared at Neil. Yours is not bad, Phoenix. It's really is rumored that it can be reborn from ashes. The dull voice resounded through the heavens and the earth, like the roar of thunder and lightning. It's useless to talk, let's fight. Roar. Enel roared and charged towards Marco. Like a high-speed train, even the air was pressed to make a rumbling muffled sound. Chapter 271 Roar of the Black Dragon. This was the first time Enel's abilities were fully revealed. In the past he was always hidden in a cloud of darkness. But it is no longer needed. The world government had seen the clues in his short-lived shots in the past, but it could not be fully confirmed. And the Whitebeard pirates, whose intelligence capabilities are weaker, of course know less about Enel. There. The cyan flame was burning, entangled with the dark mist. Marco moved in the air, drawing a graceful arc, dodging Enel's impact. In terms of flight speed, Enel is more dominant. But in agility, he is far inferior to Marco. The cyan phoenix hovered in the air, dodging gracefully, like a light swallow. While dodging, he occasionally kicked Enel. And Enel was like a vigorous eagle, constantly swooping and colliding. Straight forward, like a hungry tiger rushing towards food. The darkness grew silently. Endless darkness emerged from Enel, surrounding him for a long time. Thick darkness enveloped him, and a small black sun appeared in the sky. Marco, who didn't know what he wanted to do, pulled away vigilantly. Although he has confidence in his healing ability, it also requires physical strength. The battle with Enel had turned into a battle of attrition, and every ounce of physical strength at this time was precious. Black bullets. Shish. Endless dark oval bullets scattered from the dark sun around. Such a fast and dense attack is almost impossible to evade. The blue bird was blown to pieces, and even the flames were sparse. Like a piece of paper smashed by the rain. After the attack stopped, the flames rekindled, turning into Marco with his hands turned into wings. It hurts. Cut or not, the dull longing had a hint of depression. The attacks just now used all the dark bullets that blended the domineering of the armed color. Even a person with the ability of the natural system would be seriously injured like an ordinary person if he was hit in the front. But Marco didn't dodge or evade, but he acted like a nobody. The ability of disgusting people. To each other your turtle shells are just as headaches. Roar. Longway suddenly strengthened a bit, and Marco's spirit tightened. Just roaring like a beast is useless to me, Marco said with a frivolous expression. Then keep your eyes open, see how I beat you to a dead bird. You pheasant. Dark arms. Darkness wraps around the body, forming a layer like dark armor. This is a combination of domineering darkness, similar to the hardening of the whole body armor. However, compared to the full body armed color, there is a layer of darkness that absorbs the attack. This time Marco really didn't break the defense. Not even a trace of blood can be removed. He is not known for his offensive power, and he is a little powerless in the face of Enel's defense. However, the consumption of Enel's state is huge, and even his monster-like physical strength and resilience are a bit too much to bear. Breath of the Black Dragon. A black sphere hit Marco and was easily dodged by him. Boom 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 boom. There was a rumbling muffled sound, which was the muffled sound when the air was squeezed and approached. What? Marco found Enel a little faster. Darkness is infinite gravity, and that is Blackbeard's perception of darkness. In Enel's eyes, darkness is the power that devours and embraces everything. Sound, light, and power can all be dissolved in darkness. The dark armament devoured the friction of the air, making him move faster. Marco couldn't hide in time, and could only raise his hand to block Enel's impact. Boom. A layer of air waves spread to both sides with them as the center. Marco fell backwards under the tremendous force. Enel was invincible and continued to pursue, hitting from top to bottom like a meteorite hit the ground. Boom. Marco stepped back some distance. Enel pulled a smile from the corner of his mouth. He could already see the azure sea rolling behind the azure flames. Marco suddenly understood Enel's intentions. He wanted to plunge himself into the sea. The ocean is the nemesis of all able-bodied people. Once it falls into the sea and is completely powerless, no matter how powerful it is, there is no way to use it. But it's not that easy. The battle-hardened Marco is extremely experienced in battle, flapping his wings in a circle, crossing Enel. Suddenly, a huge attraction came from below. Oops, too careless, Marco realized that he underestimated the enemy. On the sea, a black energy ball was quietly suspended. The sea continued to converge towards it, and a turbulent vortex appeared. Soaring through the air, Marco struggled to resist the attraction. If he is standing on land, this gravitational force is nothing to him, but at this time he is in the air and is more susceptible to external forces. Taking advantage of his sluggishness, Enel slapped him in the chest with a flick of his tail. In terms of strength, Enel, whose physique is similar to a Kainu, has an absolute advantage. A Kainu can smash Marco with one punch. This tail flick, coupled with the speed shock brought by high-speed flight, is not much weaker than a Kainu's punch. Wow! Marco let out a scream. Boom! He only held on for a moment in the air before being thrown into the sea. The cool seawater poured into Marco's mouth, and he only felt powerless, like a car that had been drained of gasoline. Weakly sinking into the depths of the sea. Ha! Enel's mouth was filled with darkness, overflowing from both sides. A huge amount of darkness condensed in his mouth. A black energy ball formed in his mouth. The majestic power has affected the world, and the air trembled. At this moment, Enel exudes unparalleled power. Like a sea tide, the wind pressure swept all around. He is no longer afraid of the white beard, and he dares to grab a beard. Marco's entanglement made him lose the opportunity to pursue Blackbeard, and the Whitebeard pirates messed up his business, which made him angry. The dark fruit. This is the power that Enel has been looking for. The time he waited for was not much less than Tiki. He spends his energy to get involved in the business of the underground world, and the dark fruit is also an important factor. But because of them the cooked ducks all fly. How can you not be angry? How can you continue to remain calm? Die, die, die to me. All the bastards standing in front of me, all turn to ashes for me. The tyranny in my heart was aroused, turned into power to vent. The black sphere emits a dim light, as if about to burst. The roar of the black dragon. Boom. Chapter 272. Is my knife dull, or are you two floating? Enel only felt a huge force coming from his head. It was as if someone had knocked on the head with a brick. A moment of dizziness, unable to tell the direction for a while. Boom. The energy balls turned into black smoke. Like a misfired cannonball. He knew he had been attacked. It is not wise to expose your back to the enemy without running away directly. Reflexively patted with a paw. However, he found that his hand was caught, as if it was caught by iron pliers, and he couldn't pull it out. How is that possible? I actually lost to others in power. Enel flashed a trace of horror. Boom. The chest was hit hard, and high-frequency vibrations spread throughout the body from the point of force. The whole body was shaking, and the bones were about to be shattered. The excruciating pain spread all over the body. It made his eyes dark, and his consciousness was a little blurred. A large mouthful of blood spewed out of his mouth. With a startling glance, he saw the other party's white crescent-shaped beard. What do you want to do to my beloved son, boy? Is it my Whitebeard's knife that is dull, or is your black dragon boy too floating? The pain caused the muscles on Enel's face to twitch, and he struggled to open his eyes. What he saw was a Whitebeard whose eyes were about to burst into flames. After losing Thatch and seeing Marco nearly killed, the King of the Sea was furious. His angry look made Enel feel a little terrified. This godlike figure is so tall, like a towering mountain that cannot be climbed. The terrifying momentum is like a mountain topping the top, making people suffocate. It was too late for Enel to think about how Whitebeard could be here. He only has one feeling now: it hurts, it hurts. His whole body was torn apart, and if he tried to move a little, the pain would be doubled. Whitebeard grabbed Enel's right hand, as if tossing a rag doll, and carried him around half a circle. Although the dragon-transformed Enel was 10 meters long, In front of Whitebeard, he was as powerless as a puppet. La 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 la. Cracks appeared in the air, like broken glass, and the terrifying power even distorted the space. The force penetrated Enel's body, affecting the ocean behind him. Rumbling, rumbling. The sea twisted, forming a surging wave. It swept in with a huge momentum. Enel took the initiative to break off his right arm, and his body fell weakly. It was all soft. Bones, tendons, broken, I don't know how many. With his last strength, he controlled the right arm that was still in Whitebeard's hand. Enel's vitality is extremely tenacious, and even if his arm is cut off, it still maintains vitality. It won't dissipate in a short time. While the life force of the arm is still alive, he can control the energy in this arm. Dark shock. The broken arm collapsed into a small black dot, and the terrifying energy gathered in it, and the powerful attraction made Whitebeard unable to leave for a while. He instantly changed his strategy, and he was fully armed for defense. Boom, boom, boom. The small ball swelled in an instant, and the violent impact swept the four directions. The waves were broken into pieces, and a semicircular depression appeared in the sea. A circle of waves surged all around, and then turned into a flood that came backwards, collided in the center of the semicircle, and rolled up waves hundreds of meters high. Whitebeard's waist was blurred with blood dripping into the ocean. The corners of his mouth also overflowed with blood, and the impact just now caused serious damage to his internal organs. After all, this was an attack that Enel sacrificed with one arm, and even Whitebeard was seriously injured by being caught off guard. An arm is also a big price for Enel. It will take him nearly a month to grow back. Enel prefers his life, but to the point where he has to fight, he also has the courage to fight for life and death. With the determination that you want to kill me, even if you die, you will also bite a piece of your flesh. He battered Whitebeard. If it is the Whitebeard when he was young, this injury is of course nothing. But now Whitebeard is old and sick. Although the medicinal wine with vitality produced by Verslow has not deteriorated to the point where it needs dripping in the original work, it is not optimistic. This injury is enough for him to cultivate for a long time. Enel has a good relationship with Fishman Island, plus he wants to make Whitebeard better, and the war on the top will consume more naval strength. Let Caesar use the ability of Mycary to develop a method to use the vitality in the crystals of the car flax tree. Made into a potion, mixed with wine and sold to the Whitebeard pirates. Unexpectedly, he shot himself in the foot with a stone, and the first person to taste the power of Whitebeard was actually himself. Enel, who was falling, finally regained his mobility just before he fell into the sea. Darkness poured out from behind him, paving the sea. With the upward momentum, he flapped his wings to stabilize his body. Whitebeard Edward Newgate. Enel, who lost his black dragon form and turned into a dragon man, yelled at the figure in the distance, "Hum hum hum hum, you are getting old. A new era is about to begin. How long will you be able to protect your sons? Ah ha 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 ha." Whitebeard stood in the air with a moon step, and circles of air waves appeared under his feet. It's not that the knife is dull, or that Ionel is too floating, but that the former king has grown old. Although he was beaten badly, Enel found out the gap between himself and the world's top powerhouse. "You brazen brat, I'm afraid you won't see the new era. I'll let you sink into the sea here." Whitebeard made no secret of his killing intent. Suddenly, he was hammered by Whitebeard, and his whole body seemed to fall apart. If Whitebeard really wanted to kill him, it would be dangerous today. There is no way for Enel to fly at super high speed. "Are you sure you want to continue fighting with me? How long will it take you to get rid of me? 5 minutes or 10 minutes? Can Marco, who fell into the ocean, wait that long? Or, do you want to let Marco buried with me?" Enel smiled evilly. He knew that what Whitebeard cared about most was his family. "There will be someone to save him, that kid, Marco. My responsibility is to get rid of you, the bastard who hurt my son." Whitebeard pointed at Enel with a large knife. "You said the fish people under your command. Jinping is not here, the others go under the sea just to deliver food to Carter. Look at the situation under the sea, what is it like? Whitebeard glanced under the sea with the color of knowledge, and his face changed. The underwater battle situation was not optimistic. The members of their Whitebeard pirates were beaten by a voice. If it drags on like this, Marco will die. Go away, stupid cat. Enel shouted at the sea, swaying and flying towards the distance. The dragon's roar penetrated the sea water and spread to the cat's ears. Carter stopped his attack on Namuel and followed Enel. Chapter 273. I want to make a razor. Enel, who had returned to Verslow, was lying on the bed wrapped in bandages. This time the injury was too severe, and even with his resilience, it was not so easy to heal. There is also a limit to Mancheri's ability to heal the fruit. This time, Enel held on to a wave of white beards and lost too much vitality. There are 4 kinds of life force in his body. One is the life force plundered from the devil fruit, the power of the devil. The second is taken from the corpses of other animals, which can increase the size of the dragon after the transformation. The third is plundered from other human corpses to strengthen itself. The fourth is their own vitality. 2 and 3 of them are temporarily stored and can be consumed to restore their physical strength. Fourth, the vitality that increases as one's physique becomes stronger is truly one's own, and will slowly recover over time after consumption. It is this vitality that is consumed by the rapid recovery of the body during the battle. Mancheri's ability to heal the fruit also accelerated the consumption of this kind of vitality, thereby increasing the recovery speed. But at this time, Enel's 4th vitality has already bottomed out, so her ability is useless. Bastard beard, damn Blackbeard, I'm going to change my nickname, I'm going to change it to Razor. Sooner or later I'll slaughter these beards. Enel chewed the beef and muttered. Okay, just eat fish if you're injured. Eat more fish, the wound will heal faster. Carter said solemnly. A clear and strange voice came from Carter's side. It wears an earring on its cat ears. Enel asked Caesar to use his technique to make an earring eat parrot fruit. Solve the problem of Carter's inconvenience in communicating with humans. What kind of logic are you doing? Enel rolled his eyes. This is the way my mother told me when I was a child, because it was Weishiyu and I who told it. I won't tell anyone else. Carter's big cat face was full of sincerity. Its sincere eyes made Enel feel that if he didn't eat more fish, he would have let down Carter's intentions, and a sense of guilt suddenly rose in his heart. So I endured the pain and ate half a ton of salted fish. The mouth is full of fishy smell. It has been 2 weeks since the last conflict with the Whitebeard pirates. This news is also known to everyone because of Morgan's participation. Shichibukai, Enel Vesiris, and Raffwater defeats Marco the Phoenix, the captain of the 1st Division of the Whitebeard pirates. Marshal D. Teach, a member of the 2nd Division, attacked and killed the captain of the 4th Division, Thatch, and betrayed the Whitebeard pirates. Chased by the entire Whitebeard pirates. Whitebeard and Black Coffin fought, and both sides suffered damage. May cause war. One by one, these news became more explosive, and the whole world shook. The situation in the New World suddenly became tense. Wah 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 wah, is that guy Enel crazy, to provoke that legendary monster? Brother Doflamingo was holding the newspaper, not knowing what he was thinking. Titch, that guy couldn't stand his loneliness either, so he started to act. Shanks touched the 3 scars on his eyes, and his left eye was aching. A snow-covered island. The flying snow was colorful, circling and falling. In a wooden house, a bunch of flames burn in the middle. Fair skin, round face, golden hair scattered on his shoulders, eyes as blue as the sea, and the red pendant on his left ear shone in the light of the flames. This is a beautiful, feminine, woman-like man. He stared at the newspaper in his hand. Next to him sat a burly man with a ponytail and 2 braids, with metal jaws on his mouth, ivory-like ornaments on his shoulders, spiked willow studs, and feathers. Man in coat. What's the matter, Huang? The burly man asked. Whitebeard is injured, Jack. What do you think this era will be like? Huang raised his head slightly, his red earrings swayed, and his beautiful face had a shallow smile. What? Whitebeard is injured. Isn't that a good opportunity for us to conquer Wano? Take advantage of their troubles, and let's fight it. Akutagawa Huang shook his head. It's not that easy. Whitebeard won't easily go to war with the Black Triangle Business Alliance. Their priority now should be to hunt down Tiki. So there won't be much action. We are now attacking in the country. I am afraid it will still be interfered by him. Quote. Akutagawa stood up. Help me prepare a boat. What do you want to do? Jack asked. That white-bearded old man has been in our way for so long, so of course we have to greet you. Scarlet mist rose from the sword in his hand, like a demon thirsting for blood. The temperature in the room seemed to drop a bit, and Jack's subordinates shivered. Your murderous aura is still so amazing, bastard. It's disgusting. Calm down for me. Holy land, Mary Joa. What? This kind of thing happened. The blonde 5-old star had a solemn expression on his face. The conflict between the King's 7 Wuhai and the 4 emperors is enough to collapse the balance of power. The key is Whitebeard. You should know what kind of man he is. If your partner is killed, the angry Whitebeard pirates will be turned upside down. That guy Anal, quietly, made such a big trouble. What did he say? The curly-haired 5-old star asked the navy, who was half-kneeling on the ground. He said he was going to change his nickname and be called Razor. After answering this, our people were kicked out of Verslow by him. Very dissatisfied with Enel's perfunctory attitude towards their navy. Forget it, Chihuahai itself is a bunch of guys who are scheming. It's impossible for them to be obedient. The birthmark Wu Laoxing looked stern. Jinpei seems to have coordinated the relationship between Whitebeard and Black Coffin. The navy bowed his head and reported. It's not appropriate to go to war now. We are not ready yet. Let Kizaru temporarily sit at the G1 base to guard against the actions of the 4 emperors. The curly-haired 5-old star patted the report on the table. I'm going to kill that bastard Titch. Anal was carrying a small black bag. Idiot son, no need. This time is an exception. I have a bad feeling. Whitebeard discouraged. That guy is my team member. If something like this happens, it's all my responsibility. If I don't do anything, how can I face the dead Sachi? Ace said excitedly. Titch has to pay for what he did. He jumped off the Moby Dick and steered his own boat for the first half of the Great Passage. Looking at the back of Ace leaving, Whitebeard sighed in his heart. Dad, here comes Jinbei, Marco said. Jinpei let him come up. Chapter 274 Temporarily Calmed Storm. Whitebeard's voice was still domineering, but with a hint of weakness inevitably. Anil blasted a hole in his abdomen, and the violent impact damaged his internal organs. In addition to the pain from the battles over the years, even his monster-like body couldn't take it. Facing collapse. Ji Yudong Gudong. He drank as usual, looked at his sons, his eyes were soft and kind. He knew that his time was probably running out. Captain, drink in moderation. A beautiful woman in a white nurse uniform urged. Idiot, how could alcohol be bad for your health? Glancing at the spirits in his hand in the end, he obeyed the nurse's advice and put it down. This is not produced by Mancheri Distillery, there is no slow healing effect on the body, and drinking too much is really bad. But who made them meet Anal now? There is no way to buy this kind of wine. Not even taking Verslow, because Enel will definitely take Mancheri with him before he runs away. Jinbei stepped onto the Moby Dick, saw the bandage oozing blood on Whitebeard's abdomen, and shouted with concern, Dad, your body. Whitebeard is the benefactor of Fishman Island, sheltering their existence. He is also the person he loves the most. Seeing such an injury appearing on Whitebeard's body, Jinping suddenly realized that their father was also weak. Although he is as powerful as a god of war and is called a monster by the world, he is not a god after all, just a relatively powerful human being. He also gets hurt, gets weak, gets old. Jinping's nose twitched, inexplicably sad. You bastard, who are you showing that expression to? I have a white beard. This little injury is nothing at all, it's just a bite from a mosquito. Jinpei, what are you doing here? Is it okay with your Fishman Island now? Marco asked. The conflict between Whitebeard and Enel inevitably had an impact on Fishman Island, which is also one of the Black Triangle business alliances. Chaos happens from time to time. It's okay, although there are some minor messes, it's not a big problem in general. Then he looked at Whitebeard. Dad. I know what you are about to say, although this time it was indeed my son who moved the people from the Black Triangle Business Alliance first, but he actually dared to hurt my beloved family. How could I spare him? If the son can't be protected, then I might as well die. Boom. The wine bottle on the table shattered, and the red wine ran between his fingers and down the corner of the table. Shattered wine bottles reflected light. Ooh, the Carbon brothers cried, tears mixed with snot running down their noses. Marco clenched his fists hard, his fingernails digging into the flesh. He hated his own carelessness and his own incompetence. In fact, he is not weaker than Enel, and it is unknown who will win and who will lose in the fight. But he was careless for a while and was thrown into the sea. As the number 2 figure in the strongest pirate group, the respect and boasting of others made him a little proud, and Enel shattered his pride. If it wasn't for Whitebeard, he would have drowned in the sea. At this moment, Marco was startled. It turned out that he had always lived under his father's wings and had been sheltered for a long time. What right does he have to be proud of? Those Chihuahua that he looked down on, but they all fought and fought on the sea completely by themselves. The slightest carelessness will kill them, and they have no one to shelter them. I didn't come here to beg for mercy, I just wanted to persuade Dad not to shoot him recklessly. Behind that man is a bottomless darkness. Declaring war on him will make many underground giants stand by us. Opposite. If you really have to fight, then let me help you. Kula la la la, I'm a Whitebeard. It's not a man's act to back down when there is a strong enemy in front. Jinpei, your position is a little delicate, so don't join our battle. Tell that kid, if Meiju obediently comes to apologize, I will consider letting him go. Who is he? Whitebeard, Edward Newgate, one of the 4 emperors standing in the New World, the man who once fought against One Piece. How could you be afraid of those mice who only hide in the underground and sneak around? Boom blah blah blah. Dad, I have your phone number, it's that Black Coffin is calling. Huh, that kid. Whitebeard answered the phone. Little devil, if you want to ask for mercy, do it as soon as possible, don't cry with snot after being beaten. What an unethical old man. Wouldn't it be good for the old man to take a good care of the aged? Why did he have to come out and beat him to death? What's wrong with your injury? I'll be able to recover soon. Now. Enel's voice was full of anger. Whitebeard knew very well how hard he hammered Enel a few times. The opponent was recovering so quickly. Either the opponent's defense was beyond his estimation, or the opponent's recovery ability was very good. But no matter what, it all shows that Enel is a difficult enemy. In fact, when Whitebeard attacked Enel, the latter was in the form of an armed dragon, and his defense was much higher than his normal form. Otherwise, the injury will be even worse. You called me, shouldn't you be looking for me to chat with you? I'm not interested in chatting with you. It's really cold. I don't want to conflict with you for the time being. You can take her slow if you want. It doesn't matter if it sinks me. If it doesn't look good, I will leave the New World. For a while, a new era has been brewing, and the war that will sweep the world is coming, and I look forward to our meeting again, in the center of the world. Whitebeard, Edward Newgate, wash my neck and wait. Quote. Kala la 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 la, brazen brat. I have a white beard. Hanging up the phone, Enel packed his bags. He needed to avoid the edge for a while. Now there is no chance of winning against the Whitebeard pirates. Blackbeard is already swimming in the sea, and Ace is probably going after him. Then without him doing too much push, the top war will break out soon. He just needs to sit and watch the wind and clouds dance. Don't rush to find the trouble of Blackbeard. The dark fruit has been eaten by him, and it is useless to worry. Cunning Blackbeard is not so easy to kill. In order to increase the probability of recovering the dark fruit, Enel also needs to do some preparations. It takes time. Chapter 275, Caesar Current. Dressrosa, Royal Palace. You kid got into big trouble. My business has been affected a little bit. Brother Doflamming sat on the sofa with Erlang's legs crossed. It's not a big problem. I'm going to spend some time in the first half now. Let's change the research project on Caesar's side a little bit. I'm in a hurry, Enel said. The attribution of Caesar is unclear. It was Enel and Doflamingo who controlled him. When Caesar was arrested, it was Doflamingo who got the information first, but when saving people, Enel stepped in. To avoid a rift in their relationship, they decided to put the dispute aside and fund his research together, split between the two. The research project was also discussed and decided by the two of them. Enel wants to let Caesar put aside his current research and develop something else, and he needs to say hello to Doflamingo. Whatever you want, anyway, you have the bulk of the expenses over there. Doflamingo didn't ask why. Enel's firm expression had already told him that if he stopped this time, it might cause a conflict. Thank you, tell me something, and I will try to help. Enel didn't know if Doflamingo would still be defeated by Luo with more of his influence. But this time is indeed very important. Brother Ming did not contradict him. Enel owes him a favor. He has a good relationship with Brother Ming over the years, and the cooperation has been very pleasant. If Brother Ming is really defeated and taken to the underwater prison, Enel will definitely rescue him. Provided, of course, that he was still alive at the time. Come to Greenbit. The original lush vegetation still exists. And there are many wild beasts in the forest. But underground, in a huge research factory, countless toys are at work. Repeated mechanically strenuous physical work. The little people are also working hard in an underground orchard, coming and going busy. Enel threatens them with Mancheri's life and makes them obediently work for him. The contract is 15 years, and after 15 years they will be set free. Seeing Enel coming in, they all showed hatred on their faces, especially Leo and Kobo. They still remembered the tragedy when Bian died. Leo's eyes seemed to be spitting fire, hatred rushed to his brain, and he couldn't restrain the killing intent in his heart, so he shot out brazenly. Ah, go to hell, bastard. The other party seemed to be injured, and also had a broken arm, good chance. Snapped. Enel slapped him like a mosquito. Boom. Leo felt an unparalleled huge force attacking him, as if he was hit by a big mountain. The guy who is over his head, doesn't the worm have a point in his heart? Enel glanced at him coldly, then walked through the orchard and walked to the laboratory. Boo! A man with double horns on his head, dark blue hair, and a gas-like coat held a test tube and laughed as he watched the color of the liquid change. This is Caesar Current, a former member of the Navy's Scientific Corps, and a fellow Vegapunk. Because his thoughts are too extreme and he opposes Vegapunk everywhere, he was once arrested. In the original book, he himself managed to escape from the prison ship. Become a wanted mad scientist with a bounty of 300 million bergs. But now, he was rescued by Enel and Doflamingo, and his whereabouts were hidden. This research institute was built in secret, and there was no intersection with Anti. With Enel's intervention, artificial devil fruits became Caesar's main research project. There is also Doflamingo's need for weapons of mass destruction in warfare, as well as Caesar's own addiction to gas bombs, which are also involved in biological and chemical weapons. As for the human body gigantic experiment, it was a project that Caesar had to carry out under the pressure of his aunt, and he knew that he could not succeed. The kind of medicine that the aunt said, like magic, can make people huge, it is a technology that can't be achieved at all. Now that there is no aunt's influence, naturally there is no such project. It really saved a lot of trouble for Virgo, who went undercover in the Navy, otherwise he would have to work hard to cover up the disappearance of the child. For undercover, the more action, the greater the chance of exposure. I'm so tired, today's experiment will be here first. Thanks to that guy in the black coffin, the research fund is very sufficient. I go to spend a lot of time every day and it won't affect the experiment. Hey, Caesar smiled very cheerfully. Monet, who was the secretary, pushed his glasses and said, "You should be a little more restrained. Don't say things like this openly, or I won't be able to handle it." What does it matter? He doesn't know anyway. You won't tell me, right? Monet. When Caesar turned around, he found Enel looking at him without blinking. Stare tilde tilde tilde. Hey Neil, why are you here? Caesar realized his gaffe, and then quickly changed his attitude to hide his embarrassment. Cough my friend, you're here at the right time, and my experiments on artificial devil fruits have just made progress. Oh, how's it going? Enel looked interested. The first artificial devil fruit is officially born. Caesar held up a speckled apple. The temptation exuded above is simply incomparable with the real devil fruit. Enel sensed it with a sense of domineering, and the demon power above was only about 1/20th of the real devil fruit. Yes, energy production. Enel nodded, although not as good as the real devil fruit, but it also has a very important meaning. Ah, Caesar was a little embarrassed. This was actually the result of his move 2 months ago, and there has been no progress in terms of success rate. This is the only artificial devil fruit made. This problem has yet to be overcome. Give me some more time and I will definitely be able to sit better. Caesar said it cautiously, making a vague promise, lest Enel get him into trouble. The matter of misappropriation of funds just now has been heard by the other party. He is a little cowardly. Enel patted him on the shoulder and said, the scientific research thing can't be rushed, I know it. You just need to be serious. It's amazing to be able to do this, but I believe your limit is more than that, right, genius scientist? For Caesar, he is still very tolerant, because once this artificial devil fruit experiment is successful, he will become the biggest beneficiary, and hanging everything is not a dream. Hey, let's leave it to this genius, I will definitely be able to do better. Caesar was very pleased with Enel's calling him a genius scientist, and this guarantee is absolutely sincere. Chapter 276 Plan B. Caesar was a self-proclaimed scientist, bent on surpassing Double Bunker. For him, it is a very happy thing to be recognized by others for his research results. He will not deny his ability, hopefully he will take his research further, and of course he will work harder. Being affirmed by Neil, the big sponsor, also means a lot of research funds. The research on artificial devil fruits is put on hold for the time being, I have more important tasks to give you. Enel said. Ah, Caesar showed a trace of anger. He didn't want anyone to point fingers at his research, and the artificial devil fruit cost him a lot of effort. The experiment had reached a critical moment and was suddenly interrupted. Can't stand it. Curiosity and a sense of accomplishment drove him to keep going. Wait, don't, this experiment is almost finished. Really, it's only a little bit. We've invested so much, we can't give up halfway. Joker, I want to see Joker, he won't agree. Enel didn't expect Caesar's reaction to be so big. Calm down, Caesar, I mean temporarily put on hold, not terminated. Joker has agreed, and asks you to fully cooperate with me to complete the next experiment. If this experiment is successful, increase your research funding by 20%. Quote. Let's talk about it. What kind of research is so important that an epic-making technological creation like artificial devil fruit should be put aside? Caesar narrowed his eyes. It's also about devil fruit research, the recovery of devil fruit. We all know that the fruit's ability will regenerate randomly anywhere in the world after the person with the ability dies. I need you to develop a method for directional regeneration of the fruit. Remember, I've been putting all my energy on it for a while now, and I'll see results in 3 months. Enel's breath began to spread, a gleam of scarlet flashed in his eyes, and the savage and violent will filled the room. You can't just ignore this guy Caesar, you need to beat him properly, otherwise God knows if he will be obedient. It is common for Caesar to do some small research on his own way, and Enel can turn a blind eye, but now he needs to seize the power of the dark fruit. If Caesar dared to play tricks at this time, Enel would definitely let him know why the flowers were so red. Caesar shuddered, feeling that the temperature had suddenly dropped a bit. Hey, I've been a little confused about this when I was researching artificial devil fruits. I'll definitely give you a satisfactory answer. I know you already have this technology, but it's not mature yet. I want you to improve the success rate of recycling as much as possible in the next time. I sent 10 devil fruits for you as research materials. In the original book, in Punk Hazard, after Caesar's poisonous slime died, he successfully recovered the salamander fruit with a bag of fruit. This shows that the devil fruit has a chance to be recycled. And it is likely to be directly respawned in the nearby fruit. As early as 17 years ago, Enel had already planned to find the dark fruit. The best result is that he succeeds in finding the dark fruit by establishing a presence in the underworld. But I am worried that the correction of the plot is too strong. So there is a second plan. That is the ability to kill Blackbeard and forcibly take the darkness from his hands. Because letting Caesar research recycling technology before would consume precious devil fruits, Enel never asked him to do research in this area. But now that the plan has failed, and the dark fruit has fallen into the hands of Blackbeard like the original book, then you can no longer begrudge the devil fruit, and you can only start research in this area. The importance of dark fruits is far from being comparable to a few garbage fruits that can only be used as nutrients. Killing Blackbeard is not an easy task. Blackbeard can leave scars on redheads' faces. And from the redheads' tone, they are likely to be in a head-to-head confrontation, which means that Blackbeard has at least the same physical skills as the redhead when he was young. Enel didn't think he could be any better than the young redhead. And he's got a bunch of tricky allies. Lafayette, Van Oka and others are not generalists either. But he is not unprepared, at least Carter is a very powerful combat force. Leaving the laboratory, Enel walked towards the beach. It's almost time for those two guys to get together. I just don't know if they still recognize me as captain. Enel had a headache. If he could show the strength to convince them, it would not be a problem to drive them. But if the strength is not enough, the captain's seat will be pulled down at any time. Those two, who? Carter tilted his head. Don't we still have two partners? Oh, it's them. Carter recalled the yellow and green in his mind. Enel is not fully confident to beat them now. According to his information, Akutagawa Wong had long since left Virmayu, and had been mingling on the Great Route. Quinn, who once fought against Hawkeye, fought with Marco, and cut down one of the three disasters, is now joining forces with Kaido to attack Wano. But under the obstruction of Whitebeard, he never succeeded. As for Milo, Enel had never heard of him, as if the world had evaporated. But he is the ability of the Thunder Fruit, and Milo's talent in seeing and hearing is domineering, so he is also a powerful long-range mage, and he will not be weak. There is no problem in not recognizing the captain. It is not difficult for them to help deal with Blackbeard, and they will still give this face. Milo attaches great importance to friendship, and Huang attaches great importance to kindness. Enel's kindness to them made them choose to help. But it is impossible to surrender. See which protagonist would be willing to be his subordinate just because someone else saved his life. It is more about choosing to help when the benefactor needs him in the future. The same is true for Milo and Huang. Others are kind to them. If the other party is stronger, they can surrender and serve him. If the other party is weaker than you, then help the other party when they need it. They also have the heart of a protagonist. Even if it is the Straw Hat Pirates, if Luffy is too weak, Zoro and Sanji will not buy it. Only the strongest can be the captain of a pirate group. There is only Carter, who is stupid and has no heart to fight. For it is estimated that with Fish and Roy, cat birth is perfect. The rest of the human beings are intriguing and fighting, and it doesn't want to care about a bunch of messy things. If you hit you, just don't disturb me. Cats who eat, drink, sleep and bask in the sun are also wonderful. Chapter 277 Straw Hat, we are going to meet. Twin Points, the waves are still there. The red earth continent towering into the clouds is like a high wall built by gods, spanning the sea. Hoo-hoo tilde tilde tilde. A huge roar resounded through the sky. A huge whale hummed towards the red soil continent. Its head is scarred and painted with a twisted skull in a straw hat. These children's graffiti-like works are the reason why Rabu dare not hit the red soil continent with his head again. This is his agreement with another man. A small boat drifted swaying from a distance, and Kukaros put down the newspaper and stared at the boat. Is it a pirate ship? Caroline, wearing a white gauze dress with a butterfly-shaped hairpin, squeezed her hands nervously. Ah, that's right, it's a pirate. It seems that he is still an acquaintance of you. Huh. Caroline looked closely at the boat and saw a fat pink cat on it. Carter was depressed. He used to be comfortable in Dressrosa, and Diff served him well. But Anal suddenly called, saying that his life card had been accidentally lost, and he had lost his way, so he asked him to pick it up. So Carter had to give up the comfortable big bed and use his 1-meter-long short legs to embark on the journey to Twin Points. It swam to Twin Points, so it didn't take much time. Carter searched for a few times with a domineering look, but found no trace of Enel. But I saw a female human jumping and running over. Lord Carter, long time no see. Huh. Carter racked his brains, but couldn't remember when he had seen her. In Carter's view, humans all look alike. Except for Anal, who is particularly familiar with it, the rest are mass-produced on the assembly line and carved out of a mold. Oh, no, there is also a Kutagawa Kumi's bubbling, which is impressive. I'm Caroline. We came here from the North Sea together 17 years ago. Oh, it's you. I remember it, and I remember it as if I dug a grave for you, ghost. Carter shouted and took a few steps back, looking at Caroline vigilantly. I'm a living person. Caroline pointed at herself and said helplessly. How can you speak, Sir Carter? Meow, rely on this. Carter pointed to the jewelry on his ear. The new technology in the Great Airway allows objects to eat devil fruit. This is the earring that eats the parrot fruit. In fact, the sound is what it says, just translated my words. Carter explained. Have you met Enel? Enel, has Lord Enel ever been here? Caroline's eyes lit up. Come here, chatted with me for a while before dawn, like I asked for a pointer, and then hurried away. Kukaros interrupted. Meow, gone, forget it, leave him alone. Carter ran for a while, but no matter how it was, it had already made a trip. As for not receiving it, it was not its business. Anal can't blame Carter for running around. He has decided to go back to Dressrosa to continue his hedonistic life. As for Enel, just keep on wandering. Carter won't care about him anyway. Just as Carter was about to leave, Caroline seemed to have made up her mind and suddenly shouted, wait. That, she hesitated, can you bring me? I have become useful. Look, I am also a devil fruit power user now. Caroline pointed to the 2 tentacles with eyes on her head. I ate the animal phone bug fruit. Carter originally wanted to refuse, but after hearing her say this, he changed his mind. It's a little heartless, but not stupid, it's a smart cat. It realized the great value of Caroline and asked, you really decided to go with us? I'm sure. Then get on board, Enel, and I'll tell you. Thank you, Mr. Carter. Caroline bowed deeply. Uncle Kukaros, I'm sorry, but I still want to go outside and take a look. Thank you for taking care of you over the years. Ha 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 ha, it's alright. It's good to walk around while you're young. That kid named Anal is not what it used to be. He's already a famous big man. Following him, there shouldn't be too much danger. Quote. Anal was also very depressed. He originally went to the North Sea to collect a few devil fruits and flew well, but suddenly a strange wind blew his life cards away. So he lost his way in the sea again. Finally found the Red Earth continent and came to Twin Cape. At this time, the sky was bright, and the east showed a touch of fish belly white. He saw Kukaros, who had just returned from fishing. In the chat with Kukaros, he learned that the Straw Hat passed by not long ago, so he bought a record pointer and planned to go after the Straw Hat pirates. Kukaros knew that Anal was rich, and asked him for 5 million Baileys. Enel has a subtle feeling about Luffy. He knew at first that he had traveled to the world of pirates, but he wanted to go with the boat. Anal didn't plan to do anything after catching up. He just wanted to see what the Straw Hat, which has been used for decades, has not broken, and has experienced 3 generations of Roger, Shanks, and Luffy. And Luffy, the protagonist in the original work, what kind of courage he has. By the way, take a wave of downwind boats. Idle is idle, it is better to follow them around and watch the growth of the Straw Hat Pirates. The wonderful world of pirates, Luffy and his gang are also indispensable factors. There is no need to worry about the dark fruit. Ymil is also looking forward to Tiki to provoke a war on the top. Titch was like that before the battle at Malinford. The Navy headquarters is not far from the undersea prison, and through the Gate of Justice, generals will soon be able to dispatch support. If it wasn't for Whitebeard's imminent attack, Titch would have no chance of taking the big underwater prison. He didn't even have the entire team to sit on the throne of the 4 emperors. A giant with a red aura and a giant with a blue aura stand on both sides of the river. We will never let a friend's pirate flag break. Trust us, go straight ahead. Rumbling, rumbling. A huge island eater emerges from the sea. The huge body is as huge as a sea king. Hey giant goldfish, how come I've heard of it somewhere? Usopp felt that this legend seemed familiar. Hey steady the rudder, I'm going to be eaten. Nami urged. Usopp shivered and his face was ashen, but he still didn't move. He believed in Brookie, believed in the warriors of Elbaf village, go straight ahead. Right, Luffy. He made a fist with one hand, as if to cheer himself up. Luffy crossed his arms around his chest with a calm expression on his face. Well, of course. What nonsense are you talking about? I see, stop arguing. Here, I'll give you the last senbei. Luffy already felt that he was being generous. Seeing that she couldn't dissuade Luffy, Nami could only bite down the senbei with tears in her eyes. To be a ghost, be a full-fledged ghost. The Golden Mary gradually entered the big mouth of the goldfish, and the stench came out. But no one cared about this. The huge shadow enveloped the sky, and the big mouth slowly closed. Go straight ahead. Go straight ahead. Luffy and Usopp were still shouting. Nami screamed, go ahead. We've all been swallowed. Hegemony. Elbaf's strongest spear fired. Boom. The old weapons could not bear the pressure and broke. Fall into the water. The red and green beams broke through the sea and shot towards the goldfish. Chapter 278 Meet Luffy for the first time. The huge red and green beams split the sea, and the huge goldfish was instantly disemboweled under this attack. A round hole appeared on the goldfish's body. The blue sky was revealed, and the light reappeared. The fish corpse above the head can be seen dripping blood, and the huge blood drop is similar to that of the Mary. In the sky farther away, white clouds are lingering. Wow, good, it's amazing. Even the sea is cut open. Is this the warrior of Elbaf village? Usopp burst into tears. The scene caused by such power stirred in his heart, making him can't do it by yourself. Nami's eyes widened, watching this miraculous scene. Now she is just a little girl who just came out of the East China Sea, far from being able to compare with her who has gone through countless hardships 2 years later. The Mary took off under the impetus of the wind and the waves, and rushed forward at a very high speed. Let's go, friends. Keep going forward. Don't look back. Dongli and Brookie offered their sincerest wishes. The power of the beam has not dissipated, and it continues to move forward. Boom. A huge roar sounded in front of the Mary, and the huge airflow generated by the impact was oncoming. Wow, my hat. Luffy reached out and pressed the straw hat that was almost blown away on his head. A question flashed in their minds. What exactly happened? Dongli and Brookie stared at the sea, and they were also surprised that the power of a hegemony should be more than that. It was as if something was blocking the direction of the beam, and the beam that pierced through the giant goldfish like cutting tofu was blocked by that unknown object. Boom. With another crash, the sheep's head of the Mary fell off. A minute ago. Huh. A shrill rumble echoed across the sea with a low rumble. A 10-meter-long black dragon swept across the sea at high speed. The air compressed by him spread out and hit the sea, a straight trajectory like the wake of an airplane. His line of sight can already see the goat-headed sailboat with the grass skull flag painted in front of him. Catch up, Straw Hat Luffy. Slowing down his flight speed and releasing his dragon form, Anil's mouth twitched into a smile. He ignored the two giants who were posing aggressively on the island. Boom! A huge goldfish suddenly emerged from the sea and pointed its butt at Enel. This is an island eater. It is said that the stools it pulls are smelly and long, like land. When Enel wanted to take a detour, suddenly a beam of light charged with unparalleled power. Suddenly there was a sense of crisis. I changed direction and wanted to dodge, but because the attack range was too large, I didn't dodge. The giants are still commendable in terms of strength. This combined the attack of the two captains of the giants' pirates with all their strength, injuring one of their wings. It didn't cause any serious injuries. Even if his defense wasn't fully activated, it wasn't that easy to break. That is, it exploded a large piece in the chest and vomited a few mouthfuls of blood. But the broken wing on the sea caused him a lot of trouble. He managed to stabilize his body and swayed to support his body not to fall down. Then a pirate ship flew head-on. My day. Boom. Wow, my special seat. Luffy roared angrily. He saw Enel, who was hit and battered, and he stepped up with a kick. Boom. Before Enel could figure out what was going on, his body flew up uncontrollably. PFF'd. The icy coldness of the sea irritated his skin, and his strength gradually lost. After struggling a few times, he shouted, "Help, I have money." Seawater pours into the mouth and is salty. The body sank, and the light of the sky gradually faded away. Nami's ears moved, her eyes instantly turned into Bailey's, and a voice echoed in her mind. Rich. Quick, go and save him. Immediately gave orders. Namishin let me do it. Sanji, who was full of nympho, jumped into the sea. Enel had the ability to breathe in water, and when he was rescued, he was still looking as usual. After the Enel merchant ship, Zoro held the handle of the sword, and both Sanji and Luffy showed vigilance. There is a solemn atmosphere in the air. Depressed atmosphere filled the audience. Usopp also noticed something was wrong, and looked at the confronting three people in a panic. What's wrong? Dare to throw me into the sea, should I kill you or should I kill you? Enel stared at Luffy. He sensed the vitality of the Straw Hat Pirates with his sense of sight, showing a look of surprise. The intensity of Luffy's vitality is already in the upper reaches of a lieutenant general, approaching the level of a general. Not much worse than Doflamingo. After entering the Great Waterway, they can grow up quickly, and it is not without reason. Their foundation and talent are there, but what they lack is tempering and combat experience. He was actually not very angry when Luffy was kicked into the sea. He often encountered situations where he was thrown into the sea and fished out again. I got used to being pitted by katana goods. He is able to breathe in the sea, and with his physique he can survive for a long time without eating or drinking. And Chi can also control the vitality. As long as the vitality of the vitality is reduced, it can cause the illusion of being seriously injured. It will show up on the life card on Carter's side, and then it will come and scoop him up. This is the SOS signal agreed with Carter. He didn't panic at all. But he forgot one thing: his life cards were all gone. Carter will be pointed in the wrong direction. It's also thanks to him that he forgot about this, otherwise Luffy would definitely be torn apart this time. In the absence of conflict, he doesn't mind getting along well with Luffy, but once his life is threatened, then whoever he is, he can kill him. Enel will never show mercy. If you can do it, try it. Zoro pulled out a piece of the knife. A brave lady broke this repression. You said you were rich, didn't you? Nami came over. Enel was stunned. You don't understand the situation. Do you want money or death? Seeing Enel's expression, Nami became unhappy. Why are you kidding me? As if a faint black smoke rose from behind her, Ainul suddenly gave birth to a sense of fear. Looking at the fair-skinned fist, the legendary miraculous armament lingered. This is a fist with a bruised nose and a swollen face that can hit rubber. The boss is angry. Mungshin shivered. Usopp complained. The blackened Na is beautiful and terrible. Luffy was also silent. This is the boss. The momentum of one person overwhelms the audience. Rich, Don't be afraid. Enel took out a stack of Baileys, about 300,000. Nami's face changed instantly, and she was eager to put her hand into Enel's purse with enthusiasm and friendliness. She grabbed Bailey and said, "This handsome guy, are you hungry? Come and have a bowl of hot soup." Sanji. This face-changing speed seems to be practiced. Hey Namishan, in an instant, Sanji came out of the kitchen with the prepared hot soup. Enel is a little stunned. This speed doesn't it take time to heat up? Hey, don't let your guard down. This guy is very dangerous. Zoro reminded, already in a fighting stance. As a swordsman, his intuition was accurate, and he felt a beast-like aura from Enel. Chapter 279 Escort of the Fifth Emperor. Zoro is calm and rational, except for Liu Kai, which is a little out of character. He is already a very serious one in the Straw Hat Pirates. Neji's teammates are not on the same front as him. Under Enel's Bailey offensive, Nami has been betrayed. What are you talking about? How could he be dangerous? Such a friendly and kind person must be a good person. Nami looked at Enel, her eyes were fiery, as if she was looking at Bailey. Enel was a little hairy at her sight, and took a few steps back. "Ah, get away from him, don't take it lightly," said Sauron. Of course, Sanji stood with Nami and retorted, "Miss Nami said he is a good person, then he must be a good person. How could Miss Nami make a mistake? The bastard, Chlorella. Nami must be right, follow Nami. Black is also white." This is Sanji's political correctness. Even though he said so, he was actually on guard against Enel. "Huh, Cook, you're going to die for me. Want to fight Green Algae Head?" Before they could meet Enel, they were pinching each other internally. Vivi looked at Enel with a contemplative look. She had some images of Enel, but she couldn't remember where she had seen it for a while. Luffy and Enel looked at each other, their eyes intertwined in the air, as if they saw each other's will and belief. The vision is far away, and the time and space meet in the future. The wind and clouds are changing, the waves are rolling, the blue sea, the blue sky, the sun hanging high in the sky, the eternal light and heat shine. Suddenly, a strange feeling rose from Enel's heart. Everything around him seemed to have changed. The air, clouds, waves, wind seemed to have breath and life. They danced around Luffy, and the spirits of nature danced. It seems that the whole world is responding to Luffy and encouraging him. This feeling disappeared in a flash, and Luffy's black pupils seemed unfathomable, able to see through the soul of a person. "It's not like you," Luffy muttered to himself. "Huh," Enel tilted his head, not knowing why. "Not a guy like you." He put the straw hat on his head and fell asleep. It's inexplicable, Enel felt that Luffy also had the potential to be a magician. He was really stunned by these inexplicable words. He somehow felt that what Luffy said was correct, as if he lacked something. Not in terms of strength, but lack of spirituality. Boom! Sanji and Zoro had started fighting, and Enel was interrupted by their movement. Only then did he come back to his senses. Damn it, what's going on? Luffy pretended to be a coward in front of him. This is not right. It should be me who has been around for a long time and pretended to be in front of these newcomers. Why did it go the other way? Could it be that Luffy has the legendary domineering aura that makes people shy away? Nami punched each of them and finally calmed down. Zoro sat on the deck and asked in a deep voice, "Who are you?" His expression was solemn, and with the faint suffocating energy emanating from his body, he could scare children to tears. The premise is to ignore the two big potato-like buns on his head. "Don't be so nervous, I'm not malicious, I'm just a lost businessman." Enel looked harmless. "Businessman? This is the first time I've seen a businessman like you." Zoro's tone showed distrust. At this time, Enel had long, thorn-like hair with a shawl turned up, her skin was a little dark, and the corners of her eyes had mysterious blue lines. His eyes were sharp, like a blade. The slender muscles on the body give people a leopard-like feeling. No matter who sees him, he will not think that he is a peaceful businessman, but more like a hunter. With savage and jungle atmosphere. I'm really a businessman, and I'm still a king because in the event of an accident, I won't dare to go back to my country for the time being. A terrifying pirate is staring at me. Can I take your boat? King. A very scary pirate. She smelled Bailey. It was a fat sheep. Look at our captain. Don't look at him like this. He's a big pirate with a bounty of 30 million Bailey. We can escort you for a certain distance. The price, how about 100 million Bailey? You don't have to worry about us. We are good pirates who keep our promises. We will never hurt you. Quote. Nami moved closer to Enel, with her back to the sun, with a shadow on her face. This feeling, how does it look like? I will kill you without giving 100 million Bailey. Hey Nami, don't let this guy get on the boat. I hate him, he broke my first-class seat. Luffy shouted when he quit. Boom, boom, boom. Nami gave him a set of mysterious armed color domineering boxing package. A big bag like candied haws rose from Luffy's head. Yes, I'm sorry. Luffy apologized with a blue nose and a swollen face. If you have money, you can buy a lot of meat. Seeing how depressed he was, Nami decided to give him some sweetness and was tempted. Ah, is there any meat? Well then, Luffy agreed directly. Ah, escort me. Enel looked a little weird, but that pirate is really powerful. It's not good for you to be implicated. Don't worry, I'll beat him up. Luffy looked like he was wrapped around me, and he fought hard for the meat. Ahem is expected of the legendary 5th Emperor, really domineering. After Enel was hammered, he felt a little more at ease in the face of Whitebeard. Then can you send me to the Chambord Islands? I'll give you 500 million Baileys. Enel gave birth to 5 fingers. 500 million. Nami became more enthusiastic and said, this journey is not short. Should I pay a deposit first? Well, yes. Enel, whose ring on her index finger turned into a kangaroo, pulled out 2 boxes of Baileys from a bag in her belly. Take it. Enel gave it very generously, without blinking an eye. Nami opened the box and was blinded by the pile of Baileys. Even more affirmed his identity as a fat sheep. Luffy and Usopp were attracted by the kangaroo that the ring turned into. Wow, the ring has turned into a kangaroo, it's amazing. Luffy's eyes flashed with little stars. Is this magic? Usopp carefully touched the body of the kangaroo, only to be knocked to the ground by the ring kangaroo. This is a new technology in a great root. You can feed items and eat devil fruits. The decoration that can hold items is very popular, and now the price of devil fruits that can store items such as kangaroos has been fired up. More than 300 million. Quote. 300 million Baileys. Nami looked at the kangaroo's eyes. In short, it's something rich people play, and it's worth a lot of money. She got the point right away. Chapter 280 on Vivi's shoulders and the claws in the night. So Enel got on Luffy's ship like this. For the rest of the journey, he seemed to be an outsider, quietly watching the progress of events. There's a blame Luffy, you guys, I'm eating popcorn in the back row. Nami was sick, lying listless in bed, she was sick. Without a doctor, the group was helpless and could only try various remedies. Luffy shouted, eat the meat quickly, and the disease will be cured by eating meat. Enel said, I should give her money. Give her money and Nami will wake up. With the mentality of trying it out, Luffy took out a stack of Baileys from Usopp's small bag and handed it to her. Hey, why take my money? How could this be useful? Usopp complained. Then he was immediately beaten in the face. Money? Nami sat up instantly, put it in her arms, and then lay down again. Usopp. Really sober, although it was only for a moment, maybe the money I gave was not enough. It's a pity that Nami, who is in charge of the Straw Hat Pirates' financial power, did not leave them much pocket money, and Luffy's small vault was empty. So he and Usopp turned their attention to Enel. Enel took 10,000 Baileys out of Ring Kangaroo's pocket. Nami, here, get well soon. Money. Give. Money. Give. Money. After more than a dozen attempts, I concluded that every 10,000 Baileys could only keep Nami awake for 7 seconds. Ooh, come again. Luffy shouted, This method really works. Nami is getting better soon. You bastards, don't make fun of Miss Nami. Sanji kicked in anger. Kick Luffy and Usopp to the ground. As for Enel, of course, he got out of the way in advance. The three troublemakers, Enel, Luffy, and Usopp, were kicked out of the room, and now it's Zoro who is looking after the direction of the Golden Melee. He even goes in the wrong direction by following the pointer. Enel suddenly felt a sense of pride, at least he wouldn't go in the wrong direction with his pointer. In order to make Na beautiful, Vivi decides to ignore the pointer to Anabaston and go to find the Drum Island in her memory. There, Luffy showed his skills, took a cute pet chopper, defeated the evil Wapol, and saved the people of Drum Island from water and fire. Chopper and Roy are really similar. They are both deer that can walk upright, and they have the sound of click when they walk. It's just that Roy is missing 2 antlers. Enel wondered if Roy would empathize after seeing Chopper. Go back and remind Carter to be careful not to be green. Enel paid particular attention to Wapol's abilities. Tuntun fruit seems to be able to digest food instantly after swallowing it, but I don't know what his digestion and absorption rate is. So Enel flew into the sky to intercept him after he was kicked by Luffy, after a kind and friendly exchange. The answer is 100% digestibility. That's how Wapol was on Enel's hunting list after Blackbeard. Enel couldn't get the devil fruit from the corpse, so killing Wapol was useless. Just let him live a little longer. Wapol celebrated his escape from the clutches with tears of joy, crying like a 200-pound child. The addition of Chopper and Nami's recovery brought joy to the Straw Hats, and the haze caused by the illness completely dissipated. Yo, it's a banquet. Wow, what a beautiful night view. I didn't expect to encounter it in such a country of snow. Do and think about it, drink. Pink snowflakes fall like cherry blossoms. The full moon, the brilliance of silver, the waves on the sea. Karoo, a duck shivered. Wei Wei hugged it and burst into tears. Kaloo, why did you freeze in the river? Wait a minute, and take care of Kaloo duck. Nami said. What's wrong? Is it okay to be alive? Luffy inserted his chopsticks into his nostrils and pressed it against his chin. Ahahaha, that's right. It's enough to be alive. Enel felt the same way. By the way, Vivi, why are there scars on your shoulders? Nami asked. What? There are scars on Miss Vivi's smooth and white skin. Bastard. How can this be? Sanji felt heartache. Are you talking about this? It is said that I was shot by a pirate when I was a child, because I was a baby at that time, so I don't have any impression at all. Wei Wei covered her shoulders. Aren't you a princess? Did you get assassinated? Well, yes. Ekolem said it was done by a sharpshooter from the North Sea in a big melee. It is said that he can turn the bullet and shoot it accurately at the person behind. That's how I got hurt. Wei said with a smile. The current pirates are so arrogant. They dare to assassinate even the princess. They must be severely punished. Enel was righteous. How is this possible? A sharpshooter who can shoot bullets to the back. Even I can't do it. If there is such a skill, I must learn it from him. Usopp looked like I knew everything. Such words are definitely deceiving children. In the gag, everyone fell asleep. Enel was kicked out by Nami for the vigil. He looked up at the night sky, speechless. Is it really good to have such a big nerve? Let a person of unknown origin like me keep watch over the night. Are you courting death or courting death? The style of the Straw Hat Pirates made him feel very novel. My mind has been occupied by interests, security, and deception for a long time. It is very uncomfortable to meet such an enthusiastic and simple person. After the carnival, Chopper, who came to the sea for the first time, tossed and turned and couldn't sleep. Get up and go to the deck. It seemed to hear someone talking, and hid behind the cabin door, peeking cautiously. It may be that no one has taught it how to hide and seek, but it hides backwards. It should have covered its body and stuck out its head, but it stuck out its entire body. Chopper-style voyeurism. You're amazing if you can't be found. Enel naturally also discovered Chopper. According to his understanding, Chopper should be a reindeer who easily trusts others, is very timid and upright, and looks like a civet cat. So, even at night, I can surely hold you down. Devil, don't think about it, I won't let you occupy my body. Damn it, this right hand that seals the demon's power is getting stronger and stronger. I won't let you drink blood again. Go back to me. Under the night sky, the pale moonlight shines. The boy in a black trench coat held his right hand with his left hand, with a grim expression on his face. His right arm has turned into a ferocious dragon claw. Dark scales, dark blue mysterious lines, sharp claws shining with cold light. In Chopper's view, this is the devil's arm. Why do you think this is the hand of the devil? Didn't you hear what Enel said just now? A wisp of black smoke rose from his body, and the scene became more and more bizarre. Chopper shivered, tears welling in his eyes. The sea is so dangerous, it wants to return to the drum. Boom, boom, boom. A powerful, deep heartbeat sounded, like the revival of a demon, like the sound of a drum. The red light shone. Enel turned his head slowly with scarlet eyes and looked at Chopper. Wow! Chopper cried out in fright, and ran away into the cabin. Behind Chopper, Enel gave a wicked smile. This line, why don't you feel ashamed at all? Is it because I was hopeless in secondary school? Enel pondered, then came to a conclusion. This is the world of pirates, what is this? Saying that you want to rule the world is also an ambition, not a middle school. Wake up, everyone, wake up, there are demons. It's scary. Chopper desperately wanted to wake Zoro and others. Meat. Luffy yawned and lay down again. Reindeer I dreamed, how could there be reindeer on board? Usopp, who was drunk, forgot about Chopper who had just joined. Ingredients. Sanji murmured. Scared, Chopper took a few steps back due to the definition given by Sanji, and hurriedly covered his mouth. A slanting shadow was projected from the door into the cabin. Shadows swayed, like a twisted dance of demons. Chopper turned his head mechanically, staring at the twisted shadow, not daring to blink.